Welcome to Swish and Flick, an all Potter podcast.
Swish and flick. Everyone? Swish and flick.
Hello and welcome to episode 158 of Swish and Flick. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Peggy.
And this episode is sponsored by Lexi Trevisan. Thank you, Lexi.
Thanks, Lexi.
Thank you.
Today we will be discussing the first half of chapter 22 of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, St. Mungo's Hospital for Magical Maladies and Injuries, a.k.a. SMHFMMI.
Can you say that as one word?
Chapter ever.
Smithy.
I feel like it would be Mia, like my, you know?
So-
My.
Make sure that you have read that chapter.
She doesn't even try.
Nope. And you're ready to froggy jump your way through the details.
I like that.
begin.
I like that verb because for whatever reason, when I think of St. Mungo's Hospital, blah, 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 it makes me think of a frog. I'm not lying and I don't know why.
Oh, well, that's weird.
Yeah, isn't that weird? I just, that's what I think of, like an amphibian, a froggy. What up, frog?
Okay.
I'm Peggy.
All right.
Did you get why I did that?
No.
Angelica, Eliza.
I've seen
and I'm
it
Peggy.
once.
It's part of the song that I make everybody listen to.
All right. Let's go to Weekly Prophet.
Alrighty.
Frog jumping
I'm
all
actually
around
like
there.
really regretting the fact that I didn't say I'm Angelica, and then Katie could have caught on and said I'm Eliza, and
She wouldn't have caught on. I love you, Katie, but you probably would have been, what?
you would have been like, "What? I'm
You're
Katie."
1000% correct.
What's
Like
happening?
the Rugrats?
All right.
what's
so
her doll's
Weekly
name?
Prophet News.
Cynthia.
I don't know if anybody knows that this is a thing. I'm sure that our listeners over in the UK probably know. But every year on September 1st at King's Cross Station, there's usually a massive gathering at 11 a.m. to raise wands to mark the departure of the Hogwarts Express. However, this year, obviously, life is quite different. So, wizardingworld.com is putting together a Back to Hogwarts live stream so that people can still do something and avoid the busy station and still have celebrations. Because I believe the past couple of years, wizardingworld.com actually participated in Back to Hogwarts Day at King's Cross. Like last year they had like a sorting hat that was there. Like, you know how they redesigned the sorting hat for that like app that they made, and it looked like like one long string of like a rag that like formed the hat, and then they put that app out that you could like get resorted, and that's when we all did like our resorting. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they like had a replica of that hat there last year, and they like had a couple things that went on, but it wasn't really anything big. However, at the Back to Hogwarts live stream, which is going to happen on September 1st, they're going to feature surprises and appearances from special guests, including James and Oliver Phelps, Jason Isaacs, and Bonnie Wright.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was super cool. Yes.
Very neat.
Well, you know what they say, they being Willy Wonka, the best kind of prize is a surprise.
This is true. This is true.
The Depp Willy Wonka?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
not the real
also
Willy Wonka.
hope that like this turns into a yearly thing, because I hope this turns into a yearly thing because obviously there's only a small portion of Harry Potter fans that can actually participate in Back to Hogwarts Day at King's Cross Station, and like this will be a way to allow the whole world to participate in it and feel included. So
What time is that our time?
I
guess
don't
for
know.
Eastern
If it
Standard.
leaves
What's-
at 11
Google it, Tiffany.
in the morning.
No.
What time does it start?
Don't tell me to Google things.
I think, yeah, Brittany in the chat says 6 a.m. I think it is 6 a.m.
I'll be up
Woo.
anyway.
What,
Wait, is that a
what day
weekday?
of the week is that?
Yeah.
I don't
Is
know.
that I think it might be a Tuesday.
I'll look it up.
Oh, look at that. September 1st is a Tuesday.
I will be up at that
Nice.
time. So
I'll be up.
I'll
do
stream
it.
it during my
says
workout.
It says that there will also be a special appearance from the cast of Cursed Child before the fan countdown kicks off.
Ooh.
Well,
that's pretty neat.
Because Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in London has officially been delayed until like next
I
February.
read that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
better
but I
safe.
thought that, yeah, totally. I thought that was really cool though, and I hope that this is something that they
Stream it.
do every year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no matter,
Coronavirus or not, like
Right.
it would be cool to have something like that to watch every year on September 1st.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think that's going to be a new norm for a lot of things. Is like
Streaming
have
it?
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well,
I'm not mad.
no, it's fun.
I also
It's more
just don't. Not
exposure.
that I don't like people, but I don't like people. More so, I don't like to be around crowds because they make me nervous, and I
That's
don't like people
different,
touching
yeah.
me, and like.
But also, it doesn't
know.
deter the people who are gonna go anyway.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
so
not
you'll
gonna
have
change.
you'll have people that go, and you'll have people that want to watch online.
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
Because really, no one would be able to tell if I wasn't wearing pants online. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
True.
Yep. Sometimes I don't know what to say to Sasa, so I'm just like,
It's Peggy
Yeah.
today.
whatever, Peggy.
And Peggy.
Do you know she's only her name was only said like 5 or 6 times in the entire play.
Mr.
And she's the
Bursar.
sister.
Cool.
You're welcome for that fun fact.
Katie.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey man, it's time for the recap, man.
There's
That was a lot. That's a lot of extra rees.
You should have done it if you knew Hamilton. You could have done a Hamilton version of it.
It's the recap, Mr. Bursar. I don't know. What do you want? I don't have these things memorized.
That was good. That was good.
That was awesome. Wow, Tiffany.
Okay, Katie.
That was
Very good.
Oh, thank you. All right. Recap time. So the DA is doing awesome. Wow. Sweet. And after a lesson before Christmas, Harry gets a little smoochy smooch from Cho. Ron had a good laugh about it. Hermione couldn't be more serious about it. Ron does sober up pretty quick, though, when he finds out that Hermione has a crummy pen pal. And then they go to
Well, I
bed,
think-
and Harry has a really all too real nightmare, and Mr. Weasley could quite possibly be in trouble. Spoiler, he is in trouble.
Yes. I would like to say, though, I think it depends on who you ask whether or not that pen pal is crummy.
I agree with you.
Well, I mean, it is crummy with a K.
I would say
Yes.
he's yummy.
Crumb yum.
Like a crumb cake.
Yeah. I'd enjoy a crumb cake like glass cinnamon, a coffee cake with some coffee.
I like a coffee cake.
All right. So I decided to go off script and do something different and just summarize half of the chapter. All right.
Oh, I thought you were going to
Cool.
tell me you were going to talk to me about Legend of Zelda today.
So there's this dude. His name is Link. There's this lady Zelda. There's some legend about her. Who knows what it is?
There's a
And
lot
he's
of
gotta,
legends
like,
about
He's got to
her.
like do some stuff to like, I don't know, find her. And he like sometimes plays a little ocarina of time. Cool. Sometimes he like finds horses and rides them. He's breathing in the wild. He's breathing in the wild. I don't know a crazy amount of Zelda stuff. I will say the game I've played the most, I think, is the Ocarina of Time or whatever the old game was.
Well, there's older ones than that.
That's what I'm saying. Like my parents played that a lot when I was
Link
a
to
kid.
the Past, perhaps.
I like
be.
when he
I don't
wakes
know.
the wind,
There you go.
personally.
Such an underrated game.
So let's talk about this chapter. I will not lie. I literally started crying when I was reading it. The first half of it. Tiffany's like the whole chapter is like, no, just the first half. So McGonagall takes Ron and Harry to see Dumbledore in his office. And Harry kind of tells Dumbledore what he saw and like how he saw it. And Dumbledore pretty much seems to believe him like right away. And then he has a few portraits go and talk to some people. He sends Fawkes out to do a job. And then the rest of the Weasley children are then woken up, and with Harry, they all go to Grimmauld Place, where they find out, thankfully, Arthur is still alive for now. And then Molly arrives, and then they ask, well, they being she, asks Sirius if they can stay for Christmas, kind of to be closer to the hospital.
There's a lot.
It's like a real sad chapter.
It's a very hefty chapter.
Yeah,
It is.
again, like I
It's heavy.
genuinely, well, and I'm like a crier anyways, but oh my gosh, like those poor
you
kids.
wuss. I'm just kidding.
I'm just very emotional.
A heavy chapter,
have
and
a
it's
lot
like
of
a
feelings.
deep chapter. With
I'm
like
already sweating.
a
No
lot
one.
of, it was the whole crux.
Yeah. Well, and like this is, I think, when it's not implanted, but like, so we've talked about Dumbledore knowing a lot. And I think that he didn't know 100% yet, like what was going on with like Harry and being connected to Voldemort.
Until today.
Like, and I think he was like 99% sure, and he just needed to be like, I just needed this one last thing, unfortunately, to like prove it. And then it is proved.
One more tic-tac nugget of information.
I talk about it. I have some links. We'll talk about it.
I think that
You have some links. Zelda has some links too. Just really one link.
Zelda
link
has
to the
one link.
past?
Yeah.
they're actually different links, but one link.
How many Link games are there?
We'll talk about it.
Oh my goodness.
Why? How come there's no Legend of Link games?
This is
His story to tell, Sarah.
But I feel like he's the one telling it because he's the one you're playing at.
He's the one adventuring.
I
Zelda
literally
just sits where?
cannot.
I agree with Sasa.
Then you both can leave.
Peggy out.
All right. Let's talk about my main man for
I'm
a
gonna
while.
leave as Peggy and come back as someone else.
That's fine.
That's a good idea, Sarah.
You do you, boo. Okay. Harry is so incredibly thankful that McGonagall is actually believing him after, he tells a small bit of what goes on. They're taking him seriously. So when she was like, let's go to the headmaster, he's not hesitating at all. He jumps out of bed, pulls on his dressing gown. And if you don't know what that is, it's a robe. He puts on his glasses and he's ready to go. McGonagall tells Ron that he should also come. And Ron, I want to point out, he's like silent shock right now. And rightfully so.
Well, really, like I think you don't hear him talk at all in the first half of this chapter.
think
You know
you're
what I
correct.
mean?
He's not even addressed until they're in the office after a whole conversation has happened. So they're leaving. They pass the other boys. They go down the spiral stairs to the dorm, through the portrait hole, down the hall. And Harry's feeling a panic in his chest. He doesn't want his feelings to spill over, but he feels this serious urge and need to run and yell for Dumbledore rather than walk. Like, it's irritating him. And I can understand that, like, especially since he's actually seen this.
I wonder how much time has passed. Like realistically, I wonder.
It's painful to read this and know that it's actually happened and how slow everything goes.
I think like for us, because like for Harry, he probably watched it happen like in real time.
Yes.
And it sounds like we're seeing it kind of from his point of view. We're like, it seems like it's been forever, but it probably hasn't been as long as we think it has been. It's probably been, I would say maybe 15, 20 minutes, which is still a long time when you've been like attacked. But I don't think, you know what I mean? It's been like as long, he probably thinks it's been like an hour, which I don't think,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
agree.
No, yeah, but it still feels painfully long, especially after the conversation in the office.
Yes.
So like I said, he feels the need that he's got to run. He's got to get there fast, get there
There's a
now.
need for speed.
He has a need for speed. And that's just Harry. Like something's wrong. We're getting there. We're getting there fast. Like I'm doing this now.
Would you say that's a Gryffindor trait?
Yes.
Yeah.
You see something, you know something needs to happen. You're going to do it. You're going to do it now.
Yeah.
Harry keeps thinking about what he saw in his dream, I quoted, via Horcrux. Mr. Weasley is basically bleeding out, and is he poisoned? He doesn't know. they're walking way too slow for his comfort. Harry's also, like I said, he's wondering if the fangs that the snake had were poisonous. And then he goes on to wonder, were they actually his?
Well, that's got to shake him up, though, because, like, right now, he's probably, you know when you've had, like, a bad dream
guilt.
and you're still, like, 20 minutes after you've woken up, you're still kind of in it. Mm-hmm. But, like, he just attacked in his dream, but he knows, like, he's like, this happened, like, this is real.
Yeah.
He just attacked his best friend's dad, so he's probably still in that mindset. Like, the Horcrux is still, like, pumping Horcrux juice into his head, you know?
Steph in the chat says, I assume McGee contacted the Order right away, too. McGee does not, actually. No one was contacted until
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore in a second when Dumbledore sends portraits, especially Phineas Nigellus to Grimmauld Place. So Mrs. Norris, she's back on her stuff.
Megan has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Megan.
That's okay. I just wanted to like talk a little bit more, I guess, about like what Harry must be thinking at this time. You know, like he has had dreams in the past. Obviously, we've talked about it in length of like him seeing things currently, but like this is a whole new level of that. You know, like
Absolutely.
this is the first time he's actually like the
POV
entity of Voldemort, right? Like the POV, yeah. So like it's just
what?
POV person.
point of view. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Like it's his point of view and he's watching it happen as the thing that's doing whatever is happening.
Right.
Instead of
so
being
like
fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Don't you be a fly on the wall.
So like just imagine the things that are running through Harry's mind as to like what could have actually just been happening. Is this a dream? Is this a vision? Was there some weird connection where he actually was transported there? Like Harry has no idea what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Two things. First thing, does he remember or does he realize like that this snake is connected to Voldemort? Because he's seen a snake in like so we've talked about this. We talked about this, I think, the last episode with like the difference between like that dream that he had, that vision that he
Was
had.
it Nagini in the graveyard?
Well, I don't think he started out in the graveyard. You remember he was in the house when Frank got killed and he sees it almost like a fly on the wall. He sees Nagini come through.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
So does he make that connection where like he saw this happen and he sees the snake and now he's dreaming as the snake?
Does he connect the two snakes? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I
don't know.
don't
feel like
know
he
either.
doesn't.
I feel like he doesn't either, and he definitely doesn't know who Nagini is. He just because
Yeah.
he says a giant snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another thing I was going to say and I forgot what it was. Megan, what did you stop with?
Just that like is he thinking like, did I just like transport somewhere?
Well, I'm thinking like, because, you know, with the
Oh,
Wizarding
yeah,
World,
he thought that.
there's so much, like, he didn't know he could talk to snakes. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Right.
whatever. Like, and
Yeah.
there's so many things that, like, maybe he's thinking, like, that's something that can actually happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you just feel so in the dark about like what this could have been.
Because
Yeah.
even, like, the last chapter, it talks about, like, it mentions something about him, like, constantly almost being surprised every year, but like with things that happen in the Wizarding World and things that could happen. But at the same time, he's like, now that every year he's becoming more and more of like a wizard, more so. So he's learning these things, so he's being less surprised.
Yeah.
But maybe this is one of those things where he just doesn't know. Like maybe that was probably foreshadowing to be like, he's going to have this dream and he's going to think like it possibly was legitimately him, you know?
Yeah.
Is this?
Because he doesn't know. Because maybe he's even contributing it to being able to talk to snakes. You know what I mean? Like maybe he thinks that's like connected, being like, I can speak to them. Maybe there's some way that I could be connected to one.
Is this just
I would think that.
fantasy?
Yeah.
I would come to that conclusion, especially when like your anxiety is spiraling.
And he already has like massive issues thanks to the end of Goblet.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this endlessly too. Like he has PTSD, he has depression, he has anxiety, like he has all of these things. So like of course his mind is going to spiral when he
Thanks,
wakes up.
Voldemort.
About to get worse.
Yeah.
Let's go into that.
man.
I just feel for him. That's all.
Yeah.
Well,
I just
yeah.
feel for him right now.
Absolutely.
He needs to get over himself.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding.
So Mrs. Norris back on her BS, and she's hissing at him as they pass by her, and McGonagall goes, shoo!
I like
One
that
cat
she's
to
like,
another.
And Mrs. Norris slunk into the shadows, and I said, this makes me giggle because Mrs. Norris, she didn't really put up a fight. And I said, I wonder if Cat recognizes Cat, and they're semi-cool with each other.
probably.
You know?
I bet.
They
think
probably
they are.
have tea parties when they're both, hanging out as cats.
True.
Having furball parties. I don't know, whatever cats do.
That's not fun for cats, but
I don't know.
For a ball party.
I'd like to have a
Maybe.
furball party.
Maybe they like throw fur balls at Umbridge or knock all of her things down. That's what I like to think
that'd be
happens.
Awesome.
You know, that would be a cat party.
Mrs. Norris and McGonagall, they team up and they go, knock some stuff off you.
Hanging from torches.
Overturn some tea.
You all right?
No.
Okay.
Megan has her hand up.
I liked what Jen said in the chat that Mrs. Norris was probably knitting with her opposable thumbs in the shadows.
I mean,
Before
all
she came
signs point to yes.
Someone says,
yeah.
do you think McGonagall is a polydactyl?
Yeah, because she's a human and she has opposable thumbs. Oh.
Do they
But, like,
transfer
can you
the
She
cat
ties
form?
herself up. Now we've got McGee.
Maybe
and
she
Mrs. Norris
tied
tying
Mrs.
themselves
Norris up with her thumbs in cat form.
That's just
Yeah.
one of the games they like to play. They like to tie each other's tails up.
So they're at the stone gargoyle, and the password is Fizzing Whizbee to gain entrance. What's a Fizzing Whizbee, you ask? Well,
didn't-
folks, it's a popular magical sweet made by Queen Bee. They are large sherbet balls. Sherbet. I like to
Is
say
it sherbet or
sherbet.
sherbet?
It's sherbet.
sorbet?
There's no R.
Sherbert.
Don't even get me started. That will cause a person to float a few inches off the ground.
Oh, cool.
I enjoy this.
I have a
want
bone to
one.
pick with the Wizarding World in Orlando. That doesn't happen when I eat their Fizzing Whizbees. What the heck?
I don't know. Dried billywig stings are rumored to be one of this sweet's ingredients. This idea is supported by the fact that being stung by a billywig will make a person levitate for a short period. Although Fizzing Whizbees were one of his favorite sweets, when Harry Potter learned they might contain animal parts, he wrote in his copy of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them that he would never eat them again.
Who, Harry Potter said this?
Yeah, it's in the book where the Ron and Harry
him
write
and Ron
in it.
have their little inscriptions.
It's very cute. We did an episode on it. You should.
I never
listen
bought
to
the.
it.
I bought the.
I'm sorry.
I bought the ebook.
Anyways,
Megan.
I just want to
my
say that.
gosh, you're hand happy tonight.
Sorry, the Fizzing Whizbees at Universal are delicious. I highly recommend them. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah,
She's
but do you-
lying. They're horrible.
But do you levitate,
I'm
bro?
just kidding. They're not bad.
Yeah, in my head I do.
Okay,
My spirit levitates.
My spirit levitates.
that's such a Katie thing to say. I
Is
can't
it
even
like
stand
when
it.
you drink Red Bull, it gives you wings?
Yeah.
Wait.
The gargoyle sprang to life and leapt to the side, and the wall behind it split into two, and a stone staircase was revealed. In this part, I didn't remember. So it moved continuously upward like a spiral staircase escalator.
That makes me nervous.
And they went up the staircase, and they reached the highly polished oak door with a brass knocker shaped like a griffin.
Do you want to talk about gargoyles?
No.
Galloping gargoyles.
You ever seen that show? It's a great
Yeah,
show.
it's a great cartoon. I did look up
never
Griffin,
liked
though. Except my computer's frozen,
Catherine.
so that's fun.
What cartoon?
Gargoyles.
You're so sad. You're like, I'm sorry.
You know who likes
I
gargoyles?
think I watched that.
Terrence.
My mom was like, your dad likes gargoyles. I was like, what?
Literally this summer, she was like, yeah, your dad really likes gargoyles. And I was like,
How did that even conversation come up? Because they're gnomes. We have gnomes like
he likes gnomes and gargoyles. I was like, what?
And then what did he say when you asked him?
He goes, he looks at me, he literally looks at me, he's playing whatever gambling on his iPad, and he goes, yeah. And I was like, okay.
My mom
So-
likes gargoyles a lot. And so do
Yeah?
I, because they're like guardians.
Yes, they're protective.
So I looked up Griffin. Somebody else wants to pull up Gargoyle.
Megan's
We can do
hand is
that.
up.
Good gosh. I'm going to delete you off of this.
I just have a question.
What's your question?
So Vinny mentioned something about like, do you think that the knocker is a Griffin because like the first headmaster was a Gryffindor? But I wonder if the knocker changes depending on who the headmaster is.
I'm into that. But also,
So like maybe it was a
what?
snake when Snape was headmaster.
What if it just is whatever you want it to be?
Yeah, that could be cool too.
Like, what if I want it to be like a scary Sasa face? You know what I'm saying?
You know, you do you.
All I picture.
Or like a magical creature. Although if that did that, I feel like Dumbledore's would have been
Phoenix.
a phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah. So a Griffin, Tier Griffin. Yeah. Peter Griffin. You'll appreciate that if you watch Family Guy. It's a composite mythical creature with a lion's body, winged or wingless, up to you, and a bird's head, usually that of an eagle. Oh, look at that.
You
It's
know
like
what they
me and
say?
you.
A bird.
Bird.
Oh, well, a bird.
So Griffin was a favorite decorative motif in the ancient Middle Eastern and Mediterranean lands, probably originating in the Levant in the 2nd millennium BCE. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. The Griffin had spread throughout Western Asia into Greece by the 14th century. So yeah, look it up. It's pretty cool. A gargoyle, thank you for asking, in architecture, and specifically in Gothic architecture.
I'm sorry, what architecture? Gothic.
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 Did I say it like that?
A little bit.
Oh,
But I
okay.
love you.
Well, we'll have to just listen back for the facts. Is carved or formed in a grotesque way with a spout designed to convey water from a roof away from the side of the building. So it's like a whatever.
Yeah,
Peep
but they
spout.
also are there to like scare away evil spirits and such things. Because they're usually on churches, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
Catholic Church is listed. This is the Wikipedia, by the way.
there are gargoyles on like Notre Dame, aren't there?
Could
Let's click
Dame.
Catholic
That
Church.
church is beautiful.
Primary use of the gargoyle was to illustrate evil through the form of a gargoyle, while another theory posts that it's grotesques in architecture where something, I don't know how to say it. Sometimes the use of gargoyles illustrated pagan beliefs to reflect the unique cultural history of the community the cathedral is part of. In the 12th century, before the use of gargoyles as rainspouts, Saint Bernard of something was famous for speaking out against gargoyles carved in the walls of his monastery cloister. What are these fantastic monsters doing in the cloisters before the eyes of the brothers as they read? That's literally a quote. And that's how he sounded. I'm in rare form. My brain hurts today, friends. Okay. Back to the chapter. So at this point, it's well past midnight. Harry could hear voices coming from behind that door, though. It's a babble of voices, which lets you know it's a lot. It sounds like a dozen. That's 12 magical. People were being entertained in the office. McGonagall knocked 3 times.
Knock 3 times.
On the cellar if you want me. Oh, man.
Or is it knock 2 times?
Yeah, I don't
Is it
know.
knock 3 times?
I don't know. And all the voices abruptly stop.
Subtle man.
The door opened on its own. I assume Dumbledore used some kind of a spell. And then, or, you know, who knows, it's a magical door. The little party entered the room. And then I would like to read directly from the chapter because Dumbledore's office is pretty great. The room was in half darkness. The strange silver instrument... Oh, okay. Silver instruments standing on tables were silent and still rather than whirring and emitting puffs of smoke as they usually did. The portraits of old headmasters and headmistresses were covering the walls, were all snoozing in their frames.
Were they? Were they?
Whatever.
Lies.
Behind the door, a magnificent red and gold bird the size of a swan dozed on its perch with its head under its wee wing. It doesn't say wee, but it should. Yes.
Do portraits have to snooze?
I bet they don't.
Like, do they feel
have to
tired like
eat?
normal humans do?
maybe
they
don't. Bored.
Do they snooze when you're... No, because you can just leave. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, thoughts to think. Discord, why don't you tell us your thoughts on that? Because I don't have the brain capacity to think about it right now. Where am I? Oh, yes. Fox's wee wing. Oh, it's you, Professor McGonagall. And, Dumbledore was sitting in a high-backed chair behind his desk. He leaned forward into the pool of candlelight, illuminating the papers laid out before him. He was wearing a magnificently embroidered purple and gold dressing gown over a snowy white nightshirt, but seemed wide awake. His penetrating light blue eyes fixed intently upon Professor McGonagall. I bet he looked fabulous.
Megan has her hand up.
Again.
So, like, do you think that Dumbledore is, like, annoyed that McGonagall brought Harry here?
I think that he thought it was going to happen, and this was the time it happened.
I
finally.
think for him, I think that what Dumbledore is going through, like, we have to remember that he's just a human, you know what I mean? So, like, he's not some guy you should hold on a pedestal thinking, like, he's perfect, because obviously he's not. Nobody is, except for me and Mary Poppins, who's practically perfect in every way. But because he admits later on to Harry that, like, there's things that he did wrong, and I think that he has some regrets of, like, how he handled this. But at this point in time, like, he knows what Harry has to do, and I think that he's shielding himself from, like, getting too emotionally involved, because he's gone through this with his sister, where, like, his sister died, you know what I mean? And that screwed him up the rest of his life. And he's 150 years old, right? Roughly.
Yeah.
So, like, at this point in time, he's lived how many years of, like, holding on to, like, that burden and that heartache from his sister dying that he was, like, a part of. And he doesn't want to have to feel that, probably selfishly, again. So he doesn't want to, like... I think that's part of the reason why he's been, like, ignoring Harry, you know what I mean? So then, like, to have him there, he's like, oh, like, I'm going to have to, like, deal with this, where, like, some people aren't great at dealing with their emotions, you know what I mean? So I think that's part of the reason when he's like, like, he doesn't really acknowledge him too much, you know? Because he really doesn't even look at Harry.
Well, there's reasons why he doesn't look. I get into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally, yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, I think he reacted that way because he was like, like I said, he intuitively knew something like this was going to happen.
Yeah.
The connection, it's open. He realized it last year. It's going to be stronger because Voldemort's, back. He's got a body. He's got power, whatever. And it's like, okay, this is happening now.
I
It's
think
what
he
I
just
thought was
hoping
going to happen.
It wouldn't be so soon, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think, too, like, I do agree that he is shielding himself emotionally from being around Harry. But I think a lot of it this year is also
It's mostly
for a lot
Horcrux.
of different reasons. I think that it's partially he doesn't want to get too close because of Ariana. I think that's definitely an underlying thing. But I also think he really is just worried about Harry getting possessed and seeing into Dumbledore's thoughts. And then Voldemort would know what Dumbledore's planning and thinking. And
Correct.
he would lose his advantage. And I think that because of how calculated Dumbledore can be, I think that is probably the overlying reason right now. But I think as time goes on, he realizes that there is also that other emotional reason as to why he did it as well.
I mean, say what you want about Dumbledore. He loves Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he does.
Straight up.
And really, like, what people try to do, you know what I mean? He's just trying to do what he thinks is best. But the tricky situation with this whole thing is, like, it's not just what's best for Harry, unfortunately, but it's what's best for, like, the entire wizarding world.
For the
You know what I
greater
mean?
good,
And-
would you say?
And I think that, would you say for the greater good? Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think that that's a heavy burden for him to bear. And really, like, Harry's going to bear it. And if like any steps in really Harry's entire life were different, it might not have ended the way it ended. You know what I mean? Because Harry had to do exactly what he did in order for his survival and for the survival of like the good guys. You know what I mean?
It
sucks.
Think
It
about what
totally
you would
sucks.
do. You don't
But
know.
like, yeah.
Anywho.
And the thing too, we talk about like hindsight is 20/20. So we have all of the facts. And while we're going over this, we know exactly what's going to happen. They don't. And as much as Dumbledore is like a crazy intelligent guy and he thinks of every little thing, he can't know exactly what's going to happen in the future because no one can. Even people that can like read the future, whatever else. I don't know. In my opinion, I think it's like one of those things where like you choose B instead of A, it changes everything. So like your future, it's
Stepping on butterflies.
yeah.
And I said, oh, those portraits clearly faking their sleep. Those were the voices we probably heard, obviously. So McGonagall starts the conversation by telling Dumbledore that Harry had a nightmare, and then Harry busts through this conversation. He's like, hard no, not a nightmare. McGonagall frowns slightly at this and tells Harry to, go on, explain what had happened. Harry then says that he actually was asleep, but then he starts noticing something. So he starts his story and then he realizes, quote, even in his terror and his desperation to make Dumbledore understand, he felt slightly irritated that the headmaster was not looking at him, but examining his own interlocked fingers. And I said, we know that later on, this is because Dumbledore is trying to basically avoid Voldemort. So there's a Quora article.
Hold on. I also want to say, like, I think sometimes for me, like, I can if I'm really listening to someone, like if I would be in the situation, like I probably also wouldn't look at him. So I could like sit and really concentrate on what he's saying versus like looking and watching and doing other things too.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm telling people who are trying to say Voldemort doesn't love Harry.
Voldemort doesn't love Harry.
Love Harry.
Go read.
As a matter of fact, Voldemort wants him dead.
Oh, God. Did I say that?
Yes.
Can that be the episode title?
Voldemort loves Harry.
Voldemort does love him. We all love in different ways. Jeez.
Yeah,
no, no.
There's a song about that.
Him.
Dumbledore does love Harry, and if you have forgotten this fact, I implore you to go read the chapter King's Cross again. Sorry for my blunder. It has been a week.
Also, love is in the eye of the beholder.
I said we all love in different ways.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
I also think it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's still rings true.
Who knows? So somebody asked, why does Dumbledore ignore Harry in the 5th book?
Because, Harry was really getting on his
Tiffany,
nerves.
Tell me why.
Well, Eric Lyon said in 2018, here's my answer to a very similar question, just like Kermit the Frog. Although he doesn't know the extent of the connection yet, Dumbledore knows that Harry and Voldemort are connected together. Harry's dreams of Voldemort in the past and the pain in his scar tells him that Harry is able to venture into Voldemort's mind at certain times. He correctly guesses that Voldemort, now back from the dead, with all his powers, could do the same as well. He knows how talented Voldemort is at legilimency and has no doubt that he could penetrate Harry's mind if needed. He also knows that Voldemort has the power to literally possess someone. We see that at the end of 5. So Dumbledore treated Harry as coldly as possible for many reasons. Number 1, trying to keep himself and Harry safe, and literally by doing so, the rest of the entire wizarding world. He doesn't want to know the relationship that Dumbledore and Harry have. They have a close bond. It's different than any headmaster and pupil. There's an underlying mission here, and obviously Harry is the chosen one.
I am the chosen one.
Voldemort knows that Dumbledore probably knows something about the prophecy because Snape would have told him who was in the room with Trelawney at the time.
He wants to be in the room where it happens.
I got that one. I know that. The room where it happens. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm hip. I'm
Proud
cool.
of you.
I want to be.
Do you know what I'm doing? So, Voldemort doesn't know though if Harry and Dumbledore ever discussed this prophecy or anything like that. I'm not gonna read this entire thing. Reason number 2. Look at that guy. He's got that sissy stringy music thing. Just kidding. No one's getting my jokes, and it's awful.
No,
So-
I'm trying to pull that
It's
from somewhere in my brain. I
Emperor's
can't.
New Groove.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Reason number 2. Look what I can do. And then he's
I
doing
haven't
one-handed
seen that movie in
push-ups.
so long.
Get on, grown-up kids, man.
I'm sorry.
He doesn't want Harry to become an instrument for spying on the Order of the Phoenix.
He's a spy.
I mean, literally, think about if Voldemort used Harry. Think about all the things he would know, where he was at, somewhat of plans that are going on, where people in the Order are. I mean, there's a plethora of things that could happen.
Sometimes I forget how much this book is full of stuff. You know what I mean?
It is loaded.
Cram jammed
Because
fool.
like
Cram jam full.
we get, isn't this the shortest movie or one of the
Yep.
shortest movies?
Yeah.
So like we get like a 5-second movie, and then the book is like, haha, jokes on the movie, because like you get 5 seconds of information, but here's like 80 years of information in this book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Disclaimer that math is incorrect, but hey, Ravenclaw is gonna claw. But gosh, like there's so much. Because we're halfway through roughly, and there's still so much, like the whole Snape and Harry not being friends, and like, yeah, gosh, information. We're only at Christmas.
It's only Christmas.
Umbridge is the worst, but you know.
But here's
that
the
never
thing.
changes.
So with prophecies, the one they're made about, the people can touch them, right? So what if
you know?
What if, Voldemort could have like done some kind of secret, super cool, gross, dark magic and like actually physically made Harry go and take it and like deliver it to either him or a Death Eater or
I
something
don't think
like
that
that.
would have worked, but
Oh, really? I was going to say, I think
he's-
1,000% that could have happened.
He's done magic that nobody has
Yeah,
ever
but I
done. He
think
split his soul, man.
no, I'm
More
saying,
than
I'm not saying he
once.
couldn't do it, but I think it's different with Harry.
What do you mean?
I don't think Harry. I think Harry would have been able to like,
Shake it off.
yeah.
Shake it off, shake it off.
Eventually,
Taylor
I think
Swift.
he would have like fought it. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
But
just
doesn't
saying.
he, in a way, kind of do this in the fact that he
In a way, not
manipulates Harry's
not in the way
mind?
that I said, but yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
See, this
it's
is-
the
but I
same
think-
concept, though, and he does it in a way that he knows will get to Harry.
And this is the difference, though. So I think that, yes, he can manipulate him in a way that's going to be effective for him, and he does. But I think if he physically, like,
I meant physically, yeah.
what's the word that you said that I can't remember? Possessed. Thank you for not saying it, but me looking into your eyes, I got it.
Okay.
So I think if he physically possessed Harry, Harry would eventually been able to like throw him off if he would have even been able to like possess him that long. You know what I mean? Where like the way he knew, maybe he knows that like really like we have to realize like Harry is a pretty powerful guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and
Super powerful.
so and also like Voldemort's powerful and he's also not stupid. You know what I mean? He just likes to talk for long periods of time. Something that we don't understand. We don't talk that long, but hey.
No, never.
So with Voldemort, he knows kind of like how Harry works. So he works it to his advantage of like how he knows he's going to be able to manipulate Harry and being like, I can pull some strings and look what I put in your head. Oops, Sirius is hurt. And he really isn't, you know?
Oops, I possessed you again.
Oh my god.
You know?
Also, like, he
would've been a good
realizes
title.
that he can't get Harry, he can't manipulate Harry that way because after he does actually get Harry to come with, Sirius, with the vision of Sirius, he does try to then, unless this is a movieism, but he does then try to possess Harry at the end of the movie, and Harry does fight it off.
He does possess him at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Harry does fight it off.
See?
Yes.
Yeah. Proving
So-
He had
right.
all that imperious work
That's what I'm saying.
with Judy.
Thanks,
it off.
Judy.
Thanks, Judy.
Yeah,
You're the
really,
best.
like, you kind of screwed yourself over there, Judy. You and your master.
Man.
Paying for it now.
Well, they're all no longer with us.
Anywho, Harry continues on to tell Dumbledore that the dream wasn't ordinary. He saw it happen. He saw Mr. Weasley be attacked by a giant snake. So he doesn't know Nagini's name. And as he listened to himself say it, he felt absolutely ridiculous and even comical.
Oh,
and Dumbledore takes all of this in, and Dumbledore is now staring at the ceiling. And you know his mind is racing. Ron is just now it's just now like mentioned, and he's just looking around and he's white-faced and shocked. And then Dumbledore asks a curious question as if he knows what Harry fears. He does. And then he says, "How did you see this?" Dumbledore asked quietly, still not looking at Harry. "Well, I don't know," said Harry rather angrily.
Can you say it in an angry voice?
"Well, I don't know." What? And then he thinks to himself, what does it matter?
I feel like this is like an answer you'd give to a kid would give. You're like, well, how'd you say it? Well, in my head is how I thought it. You know what I mean? Like, duh.
I think
like, what a dumb question.
Well, I think I say this later. Inside my head, I suppose. And then Dumbledore goes on to say, "You misunderstand me," said Dumbledore, still in the same calm tone. We're not yelling like in Goblet movie. "I mean, can you remember or where you were positioned as you watched this attack happen? Were you perhaps standing beside the victim or else looking down on the scene from above?" And this was like a gut punch to Harry because he has to actually voice the thing that he's afraid of saying. And he says, "I was the snake. I saw it all from the snake's point of view." And the room is silent for a moment. And then Dumbledore asks if Arthur is seriously injured. Harry's like, yes. He's irritated. Everyone's too slow. Time's of the essence. Quote, "They did not realize how much a person bled when fangs that long pierced their side. And why did Dumbledore not do him the courtesy of looking at him?"
I feel like you read that sentence incorrectly.
I did. But it all makes the same sense.
Correct.
But Dumbledore stood up so quickly that Harry jumped, and he addressed one of the old portraits hanging very near the ceiling.
Does he have to like shout up there? Yo, you! Up
Yo,
there!
what up?
Everard!
I feel so bad for Ron.
Oh my God.
Ron
Like, I
has
think
to
at the
be
beginning of it,
reeling
like,
right
he
now.
didn't really think, like, he was just like, dude, you're just dreaming. And then now he's, like,
My dad's probably really hurt.
scared out of his mind. Words I can't say.
All right. So the portrait that Dumbledore is calling to, he's calling to two. There's Everard and Dillies,
Like a dilly bar?
like a dilly bar. So on the Wikia, Professor Everard was one of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry's most celebrated heads of house. Headmaster, whatever. His portrait hangs in the headmaster's office and in the Ministry of Magic headquarters. We don't know how long he was headmaster. After his death, he's remembered as one of the most celebrated heads of Hogwarts. When Arthur was attacked by Nagini, he then goes to his portrait in the Ministry of Magic in order to warn others that Mr. Weasley is injured. And then in June of 1997, following the Death Eater attack on Hogwarts and the death of Dumbledore, he informs McGonagall that Rufus Scrimgeour was on his way, having just disapparated from the Ministry of Magic. So that really his only role that we ever see him in is as his portrait. But we know that he was obviously a headmaster since he's in the office. Then Professor Dillies was a witch who worked as a healer at St. Mungo's, and was also a celebrated headmistress of Hogwarts. Her portrait hangs not only in the headmaster's office, but also in St. Mungo's Hospital for Magical Maladies and Injuries main admitting area.
Can you say that 10 times fast?
I cannot.
I cannot not.
Thank you for your honesty.
So she started working at St. Mungo's in 1722.
Whew.
and left the job in 1741 and became headmistress that same year. She proved very popular among students and teachers, gaining her the status of one of the most celebrated heads among Dumbledore and Everard, and she died in the post in 1768. So, Dumbledore explains to Everard and Dillies that Arthur has red hair and glasses, and he wants to make sure that he's found by the right people because he shouldn't have really been where he was. So Dumbledore is trying to cover some tracks here. So they leave their portraits, but not in the usual way that Harry is used to seeing portraits leave, because normally when they leave, he can see them in the portrait next to them, like they're walking through them. However, both of them leave, and they actually like leave Hogwarts. And I think that this is the first time we see this happen.
I think this must be, Hermione obviously makes the connections between Phineas Nigellus's portrait in the office and at Grimmauld Place in 7. But this is one of those really cool Easter eggs that you learn that they can actually leave the portraits and go to obviously hundreds of miles away. And I think that's pretty cool because we also get to see it later on, and it's of great use.
Yeah.
Yeah, like think of Ariana's portrait and how it leads to the room of requirement and stuff. Like this is used in so many instances and is such like an important part of like how the wizarding world works. So
I think it's really cool. Like how cool would it be to like
travel by portrait?
Yeah.
Do you turn into paint?
Yeah, like how do you travel? Yeah.
Like
That's
what
cool.
is that? Is it oh shoot. What's that movie? Is it Inside Out or Upside Down? What's it called?
Inside Out.
In the Upside Down?
Oh
It's
yeah,
such
how they
a
go into, like,
Cherylism.
the abstract.
Oh
yeah.
That's cool.
upside down.
Yes.
You
It's actually
tried.
called Right Side Up.
So at this point, Harry's still pretty frantic. He doesn't feel like anything is happening fast enough still because he's like, Arthur could be anywhere. Thankfully, though, and Dumbledore doesn't really voice this quite yet, but Dumbledore knows exactly where Arthur is because he was on a task for the Order. So Dumbledore goes over to Fawkes and says, "We will need," said Dumbledore very quietly to the bird, "a warning." And there was a flash of fire and the phoenix had gone.
I love him.
Yes.
Two things. First, do you think Harry like has any like does he remember his other dreams where he's like dreaming about like corridors and such things like that? Do you think? Like, dude, put it together.
I thought you
Oh,
said quarters.
I thought you said
Like
quarters as
change?
well.
Corridors.
I mean, there are quite a few instances where like it states explicitly in the book that like he wakes up not remembering.
Yeah.
So
Stupid.
Yeah.
it would be cool if he did, but I bet he just doesn't.
And
we
then-
only know that he's dreaming of that.
He doesn't know that we know.
He doesn't know that we know that we know.
My other question is, I wonder how many times Dumbledore has to say this to Fawkes, or if he just was like, or not say that to Fawkes, but like, how many times does he need to use Fawkes to be like, give me a warning when
Yeah.
she's out doing her
Oh,
stuff?
this year?
Yeah.
Well, duh.
Just
I'm
this
so
year?
mad.
Well, really,
like
this is the only year
using-
Umbridge and Dumbledore are at Hogwarts together.
Oh, I mean, Fox could
like,
be used
why
for
else?
other
Well,
warnings.
for sure.
This year,
But I'm
probably
speaking
2.5 million times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Approximately,
probably an
give or
accurate.
take.
Because really, like,
accurate
how does
numbers.
Fawkes know, like, that he's specifically talking about Umbridge?
Because she's the worst.
I mean, yes.
She's the worst.
And think like Fawkes, I'm pretty sure, gives him warning whenever she's coming to like arrest him.
They are coming.
And that's how he knows. Like
They are coming.
Fox has, I cannot wait for us to do like a Felix Files on the Phoenix and talk about like all of the powers and stuff that they possess and everything they can do and like see what we can find online about that because that's going to be super cool.
Fun fact about
I think it's gonna be
phoenixes
pretty hot.
or phoenix eyes. Alana got one for going on the potty today as one of her prizes.
She was very.
She got a little phoenix figurine and a hippogriff.
Awesome.
that is not the right colors, but it's still beaky.
I was like,
Cute.
his name is Buckbeak. She's like,
Beaky.
Buckbeak?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So Dumbledore now swooped down upon one of the fragile silver instruments whose function Harry had never known, carried it over to his desk, sat down facing them again, and tapped it gently with the tip of his wand. The instrument tinkled into life at once with rhythmic clinking noises. Tiny puffs of pale green
Ooh,
smoke
green.
issued from the minuscule silver tube at the top. Dumbledore watched the smoke closely, his brow furrowed, and after a few seconds, the tiny puffs became a steady stream of smoke that thickened and coiled in the air.
Coiled.
Well,
A serpent's head grew out of the end of it, opening its mouth wide.
A snake.
A snake. Harry wondered whether the instrument was confirming his story.
Story.
A tail.
Confirming.
He looked eagerly at Dumbledore for a sign that he was right, but Dumbledore did not look up. Naturally.
Would you look at it?
Look at it.
Look at it. Oh,
This
I
is-
said, would you look
this
at
is
that?
really important.
Oh, okay.
Aren't we listening?
I'll stop making
sorry.
fun.
Naturally,
bad.
naturally, we're going to listen to you.
Naturally, murmured Dumbledore, apparently to himself, still observing the stream of smoke without the slightest sign of surprise. But in essence, divided?
Oh, snap. Are we talking about like Horcruxes?
Oh, is that someone's soul split in several parts?
Oh, is it like a pizza pie or just like
Well,
a fruit pie?
I think that it would be neither, because do you really want to split your soul? If you're splitting your soul, it's like,
Is it
pieces
deep
of
dish or
moldy-
is it a thin
See, I would
crust?
say like it's pieces of a
Voldemort
moldy
don't care.
avocado. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes bad. You got your whole avocado. You cut your avocado in two, and the pieces just start getting grosser from there. You know
So
what
now
I'm saying?
Voldemort's
You
an avocado.
Yeah, you
No,
split
he's
your
an
soul.
avocado.
Oh, an
And
avocado.
not a fresh avocado, because then you're trying to bring it back. It gets all gross.
Oh, I bought
and
2
slimy
avocados today.
and like dark colors.
Dark.
It just
I
gets
actually
gross.
genuinely think an avocado is a great comparison to Voldemort.
Let's
Does
not
get
do
That's
this.
moldy
why I
over
said it.
time.
I don't want to do it.
So
You don't want to do what?
so.
Avocados.
Do you want to talk about tomatoes?
No.
You cut a tomato in half.
No.
Megan,
proceed.
This blew my mind.
This is a big moment in Order of the Phoenix. I say again, this is a big moment. Big moment.
Wait, say it again. It's a small
This is-
moment? What?
This is a big moment.
It's a big moment with big dreams.
It's a big
is.
dream.
So I
It's a
said,
small moment with big
what
dreams."
is this silver instrument? And what does "but in essence divided" mean? And this phrase confused people for years until Deathly Hallows came out, because Joe would not talk about it,
I mean,
obviously, because
duh.
it gives a lot away.
Please tell me, what does it give away?
Oh my God. So back in
Wait, my hand is up.
2000 what?
Nothing. She's being
I'm
Sarah.
being you in Megan or Tiffany's part.
In Tiffany's section, yeah.
Yeah.
So back in 2007, after Deathly Hallows came out, J.K. Rowling did a Bloomsbury chat to talk about things after Hallows was released. And somebody asked her, what does "in essence divided" mean? And J.K. said, Dumbledore suspected that the snake's essence was divided, that it contained part of Voldemort's soul, and that was why it was so very adept at doing his bidding. This also explained why Harry, the last and unintended Horcrux, could see so clearly through the snake's eyes, just as he regularly sees through Voldemort's.
I would like to point out that he is not the last Horcrux, because Nagini would be the last Horcrux, because she was made a Horcrux after Harry.
Correct.
Help us all.
However,
Just
he
saying.
was
The unknown.
Yes, he was unintended.
Into the unknown.
Oh my God.
Harry doesn't like that, okay?
She also says Dumbledore is thinking aloud here, edging towards the truth with the help of the pensieve. There's
Thinking aloud is such a good thing
What
to do, by the
instrument
way.
was he using?
Green smoke machine.
So there is no information.
Was there a wizard behind it?
Yes.
There is no information on this instrument.
Name it.
I think it was a guitar.
A guitar?
Katie.
I'm going to say
Or
a
like-
hookah.
Such a
An
goose.
oboe?
A flute?
What?
Oh, you were thinking instrument as in like a doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
No, we're just being
Is
dumb.
mayonnaise an instrument?
I wish you could see her do that.
Oh, God. Tiffany's face was pretty funny.
I think it's a smoke machine. Dry ice, maybe, in a bowl.
But he says it's a silver instrument.
I think that
The smoke is green,
again,
that's what I meant.
Yes.
So JK also did an interview on Pottercast, and they asked her about it, and she doesn't name the instrument. Like, the instrument's never named, but she
Boo.
basically explains that the magic Dumbledore is using, this instrument allows that magic to map out his theory for him.
I like that. I like that.
So, like,
Alright.
it works with Dumbledore's magic to basically
Who
help
made
him
this?
construct
He
his
probably
thoughts.
did. He probably made it.
My
1000%.
lawyer
maybe
said
maybe
it.
that's why he doesn't have a name, because he never told
He's my man.
JKR. You know what I'm saying? He never told the author what he named it.
Oh, okay.
So it's Dumbledore's instrument.
Dumbledore's army of instruments.
DI.
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 So,
We're not well today.
I know. Yeah. But anyway, so again, just like this is like just a different way to say kind of what I said, but I liked how it was said, so I'm gonna read it.
I said what I said.
It says the in essence divided enigma eluded fans for years. After the release of Deathly Hallows, JK discussed it in the Bloomsbury chat on July 30th of 2007 and in an interview on Pottercast.
When did the book come out?
In
book was
July.
out.
So
think
on the
early July.
30th, she busts out these things too?
Yeah.
She doesn't even wait? I mean,
she's
I
like,
guess everything's
"Spoiler."
out there, but she was
Spoiler.
like connecting dots for people real fast.
Yeah. And also in an interview on Pottercast on December 17th of 2007. So, however, in each of those two interviews, she took a slightly different approach to what she was saying. So in the Bloomsbury chat, again, she says it meant that the snake's essence was divided. It shared part of its soul with Voldemort. So that is when he knew for sure that the snake was a Horcrux as well as Harry. Because now Harry not only was connected to Voldemort, but Harry was connected to this snake. Yes.
A lot of stuff happening in this chapter.
So I'm thinking like how where does it say, hold on, where J.K. Rowling was saying like Dumbledore suspected that the snake's essence was divided, that it contained part of Voldemort's soul, and that was why it was so adept at doing his bidding. Mm-hmm. But I also think like part of it is because like is Nagini like the woman still in there as the snake, or is it just Snake? You think it's Snake?
I think her brain is
That's
intact.
what I'm saying. So, like, I always thought from
And-
what we've learned from Fantastic Beasts, or maybe this just is, you know, her not knowing at this point in time when she's saying these things. Like, I think that's part of the reason why she goes along with, not just goes along, but like she formed a connection at some point with Voldemort because he can speak to her. And I always just assumed like that was also part of why she was like with him, because like that's the only person she can talk to. I don't know. That's just maybe my headcanon.
No, I like that a lot.
I that was just something like maybe that was one way to keep her sane, or like being able to have like somewhat, even as she's a snake, a whatchamacallit, a thing. A human, like a human connection, you know, where she's talking to Voldemort. And then he like, and so it's been so many years that she's been with him, and now she like, he wants to make her a Horcrux, and she allows it, or doesn't have a choice. But I don't
really
know.
like out of everything that is like within the Fantastic Beasts story, I'm most intrigued by hers. Like I want to know what happens with her.
If you are a Horcrux.
But also, Rowling mentioned that Dumbledore was helped by the pensieve in reaching this conclusion, which they're claiming is an incorrect statement. But I'm not really sure why they would say that, because I think he does use the pensieve because he goes back and looks at all of those memories that he's collected. So like, why wouldn't the instrument be connected?
I mean, you can come to this conclusion right now, and he's like, "Oh my god, I think this is what happened," and then do the pensieve to get more evidence to back himself up. You know?
I think that's what, like, for Dumbledore, like, he is going to think about every, like, so we've talked about this where, like, in my opinion, like, he didn't know, he wasn't 100% sure until, like, right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and like, just
like,
to
all
like
theoretical.
check all of the boxes and check all of the
Cross-references,
facts,
my friend.
he's gonna go
Yeah.
back and like look at all of his memories to be like, I'm not just making this up, and these
Right.
are all these confirming things, because you can never be sure enough. You know what I mean? Like, you could, there's
Yeah.
not, like, there's no wrong, like, there's no bad reason to go back and look, because you might have missed something. So why not go back and look at your memories?
And I think at this point, it's more important than ever that he keeps his thoughts away from Harry, because now that he's connecting the dots, it's even more dangerous for him at this point to have any sort of relationship right now with Harry.
Yeah.
In
For
the
the greater
Potter, in the Pottercast interview, she says that the snake is the symbol for Voldemort, who is in essence divided. Having created a Horcrux, he had split his soul. So she kind of discusses this differently from July to December. But
like
it's
the
kind
July
of the
one
same
better.
concept. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it's a similar concept. So there's no confirmation anywhere on what this instrument is, but we do know that it allows Dumbledore to track his thoughts and ideas on the Horcruxes, hence why the smoke turns into puffs of smoke and then becomes a snake. So Harry could neither head nor tail of this question.
Snake.
Harry could make neither head nor tail of this question. The smoke serpent, however, split itself instantly into two snakes, both coiling and undulating in the dark air. With a look of grim satisfaction, Dumbledore gave the instrument another gentle tap with his wand. The clinking noise slowed and died, and the smoke serpents grew faint and became a formless haze and vanished.
Do you think that that's like foreshadowing to us finding out that Harry is also part of his soul? Like, if it's visualizing Voldemort and it's split, that means he made Horcruxes, but also like Harry's a Horcrux. Or even like if you just use it as like Nagini being the snake, y'all both have little bits of Aldi in you.
I think this is where, you know, he gets that more. I mean, I think he always had that guess,
Yeah, it's like cemented now.
but now it's real. And that grim, what does it say? Grim, satisfied
Grim
smile or something.
satisfaction. Yeah.
Yeah, he
The look of
hates to
grim
be right.
satisfaction.
Yeah.
He's hating to be right.
yeah.
Yeah, like he knew that this was the case, and now like things got dark. Like solidified, things are dark right now. And like I think that he knows at this point what is gonna happen, and he is like almost already mourning it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Everard comes back and says, I yelled until someone came running, said the wizard, who was mopping his brow on the curtain behind him. Said I'd heard something moving downstairs. They weren't sure whether to believe me, but went down to check. You know, there are no portraits down there to watch from. Anyway, they carried him up a few minutes later. He doesn't look good. He's covered in blood. I ran along to Alfreda Craig's portrait to get a good view as they left.
God, poor Ron,
so-
you guys.
I know.
He's hearing about this, and people are. So when you talk about these situations, and it's easy as someone who's not connected to that person to say these things in not a casual tone, but without, you know, the care of somebody who is really deeply connected into this victim.
And they don't know. You know
And
what I
they
mean?
don't, and it's no fault of them, but
Yeah.
like Ron is listening to this as if it's like people working on his dad in the ER, and
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
care that
Yeah.
he's there.
Yeah.
I would say I don't want to paint people like that. I
Not that
wouldn't
they
say
don't care that he's there, but you know what I'm
more
saying?
so like they're more focused on
They're very in the moment
getting
of
him
what they
and
need to do.
saving him.
Yeah.
Rather than, and that's why a lot of times they don't want
There's no
family.
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
not
like,
tiptoeing around
because they don't want.
emotions.
I mean, yes,
Correct.
because
well, you can't.
you can't when
time.
you're in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
You just have to go and do, and like a lot of times you're just running on your instincts, and you just gotta like save this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you, it might seem like you are uncaring, but you're not. You know what I mean? You're just
You got to get it. You got to get stuff done.
And let me tell you, like being in a situation like obviously working in a hospital, like you just go be do.
Go be do.
You know,
I was going to say that, and then you said it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun, let me tell you.
That's why I don't do it. Literally, I could not do your job. So thank the Lord for you.
So Alfreda Craig is a witch whose portrait hung at the headquarters of the Ministry of Magic. The name Alfreda is from an Old English name, which means elf strength. So I don't know what type of connection that could mean.
Elf.
She might be petite.
Maybe.
Elves are strong, man.
Alfreda Craig is possibly a misspelling of Alfreda Clag. This is likely as Clag was a celebrated chieftainess of the Wizards Council, which would make more sense as to why her portrait would be in the Ministry of Magic, and we don't know who Alfreda Craig is. So they
Distant
think
cousin.
that she possibly misspelled her last name.
Like the aggro crag.
Cragg.
What is the aggro crag?
Get out. Guts.
So
Nickelodeon.
Never seen or heard of Nickelodeon in my life.
I'm over
Oh
you.
my gosh.
Thank you, Discord. Jeez.
So if it is in fact Alfreda Clag, she was a British witch and the chieftainess of the Wizards Council either in the 14th or 17th century. I don't know why there's
That's a
that big
gap.
gap there. But either way, she was Burdock Muldoon's immediate successor of the post. And I think that we know some of this information because of a chocolate frog card. And also she is mentioned in Quidditch Through the Ages and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So,
Jeez.
but Alfreda Clag has an actual Wikia page with a little bit more information than Alfreda Craig. So that's kind of funny that it could just be a misspelling.
Do you think they get each other's owls all the time?
Probably. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah. Get mixed up.
did you say Muldoon?
Yeah.
That's a character in Jurassic Park. He's the one that gets eaten by the raptors. Clever
Oh,
girl.
no.
It makes me think of Mordu.
Mordu, the bear from
Brave.
Merida. Yes, Brave. That's what it is called. Not Merida.
Oh, do you even Disney? You've never been there. Not even 30
Never
times
been
this
there.
week.
Never been there. So Dilly's then comes back and confirms what Dumbledore just said. Yes, they've taken him to St. Mungo's Dumbledore. They carried him past under my portrait. He looks bad. So then Dumbledore asks, now Dumbledore is like in planning mode, like, okay, what are the next steps? He probably knows he only has so much time before Umbridge is aware of things that are happening.
Why? Go to bed. Like,
Honest
get
to
serious.
God.
Mind your
Honest to
own.
God. So Dumbledore asks McGonagall to go and wake the other Weasley children. And she then asks, what about Molly? And he says, don't worry about it. She probably already knows. Her clock will have told her. So then she moves swiftly to do so. However, Harry is worried that she doesn't know because it's the middle of the night. Why would she be sitting there staring at her clock? But I will say, Molly is quite the concerned mother/wife, and she knows Arthur's on duty, so she might
Duty.
be up. Yes, Sarah.
Well, she probably is up because
She's
probably
not gonna
can't
sleep
But
until
I think
he's
they
home.
also, I think he also mentions like after Fox does what he's got to do, like he's gonna have him tell Molly. I
Yeah.
thought.
Doing bird stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
like no, watching out for.
Well, he
Umbridge.
does
Yeah, bird
actually
stuff.
say something like that'll be a job for Fox. I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's just a wee bird.
Just a wee
big
bird,
dreams.
Big dreams.
Yeah. He said,
Did I
"That'll be a
tell
job
you
for
what
Fox."
Alana said?
What?
She picked up a hair pony and said, "Here's a small pony with big dreams." I laughed so hard.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
Dumbledore says that'll be a job for Fox when he has finished keeping a lookout for anybody approaching, aka Umbridge.
Okay.
But she may already know that excellent clock of hers. Which, I mean, she's probably literally watching the clock. Also.
Yeah.
But I wonder though, like, don't you think that like I feel like that, in my opinion, and maybe this is just my headcanon, that like him being there anyways, regardless of the whole Nagini biting him, getting a taste, that he would be in mortal peril anyways because of what he's doing.
Well, I thought that I remembered the observation that they were all pointed to mortal peril.
That's in 7.
Oh, is it?
That's what
okay,
I think later on they are.
Yeah.
Got it. So Harry at this point just like feels awful because he's thinking Molly doesn't know yet that, and
Molly
he's remembering her Bogart back at Grimmauld Place and the fact that he saw her Bogart turn into a dead Mr. Weasley. So he's just feeling particularly bad. Dumbledore,
And he also feels like it's his fault.
he does.
At this point, he doesn't know whether or not he actually did it.
Harry doesn't know if he had a dream or if it really did happen that way.
That was really good.
You're
I'm really proud of you. Usually your end
They
of
tell
that
him
gets a
it's
little weird.
dream, but he doesn't know. Harry doesn't know. Harry doesn't know.
We're fine.
Sorry. We can go on.
So Dumbledore then creates a portkey with an old blackened kettle. And I just need to give shout out to my girl Nancy Birtwhistle from Great British Bake Off. She would say, "Don't you throw out that old blackened kettle. You clean it with some baking soda and lemon and vinegar
Excuse me.
and eco-friendly washing up liquid.
Bicarbonate
of soda."
Thank you.
Yes, Sarah.
Do you think that it's just Dumbledore being a very great wizard that he's able to be like Portis and like
think
made
so.
a Porcrux? Oh. Or do you think like anybody can do it? Like you just make, because like I feel like how can they contain like international travel and like other port keys? Or do you
I think it's a skill.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I think that Dumbledore, I mean, he's got style, he's got skill.
I agree.
Because I think that there's like a whole department
He has
in
a
the ministry
windowsill.
that focuses on making port keys because they were involved with the Quidditch World Cup.
Yeah.
So I would assume that, it's something that.
well, you ain't
I just,
learning
like,
at Hogwarts
sometimes-
from what we see.
Well, sometimes in fan fiction, they'll be like, oh, we have an illegal like port key where like they don't want like the ministry people knowing that they made a port key.
don't
You know what I mean?
ever again tell me that you're not a nerd.
Why are you saying I'm a nerd? I'm literally the least nerdy out of all of you.
You are very
Are
loud.
you? Are you?
Pass.
I don't.
1,000%.
Who
do you? Okay.
I think you're pretty on par for the group.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not, but I think that I'm the least out of the four of us. We'll rank us. We'll rank it after in the lightning bolts.
Oh boy,
Y'all, I want you guys
Somebody
to
make
rank
that
us.
a lightning bolt question.
Rank us.
nerdiness.
Rank the nerds on
the
this
nerdy
so-called
rank.
pod.
Oh man.
It's the nerdy rank down.
See you later, nerds. Best video in the whole world.
So basically, I'm just saying, don't throw out that old blackened kettle. You clean that with some Nancy Birtwhistle tips. Just go over to her Instagram, she'sthebomb.com.
I
Love
also
her.
will say, I for whatever reason read it as a boot. I don't know why. I thought it was a shoe. That's what I remember
cat
reading
toe.
today.
That's a whole book ago.
I don't own a kettle. I mean, I have an
I
electric
do.
one.
So Dumbledore then goes to wake up Phineas, who is feigning sleep quite horribly, in my opinion.
Such a stinker.
Honest to gosh.
And Dumbledore is just like, Phineas, 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 just over and over. And then he
Mom,
decides he can't really pretend any longer. Gives a theatrical jerk and opens his eyes wide. Did someone call?
It irritates the heck out of me that he did that for so long, knowing and listening to the severity of the situation. And that's
Yeah.
all I'm going to say about that.
Like, he knows that it's a bad situation.
You're just a jerk.
Where did I leave off? Oh, I need you to visit your other portrait again, Phineas, said Dumbledore. I've got another message. Visit my other portrait, said
Another
Phineas.
message.
Yeah, I know. What was
He
the
must have
first
just
one?
been talking or sent Sirius a message earlier in the evening.
Possibly.
Why, you think that day?
It makes me feel like that. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like he's just have hold on. I feel like he's just have hold on. I feel like he's just has sent him to go send like another message before, not specifically that day. What would he tell Sirius right now today? What? Today. Ta-da. What do you want to know? Ta-da.
I don't pretend to know his thoughts and feelings and
You
plans.
sound like Jimmy Fallon doing
Yeah. You want me to send a message to Sirius? Yeah.
Is that gross? Yeah.
I seriously love
I'm
the one
sorry
with
to
Taylor
everyone
Swift.
Oh,
listening.
honestly.
Oh God.
Oh man. All right. Visit my other portrait. Phineas says in a reedy voice, giving a long fake yawn, his eyes traveling around the room and focusing upon Harry. Oh no, Dumbledore, I am too tired tonight.
Punch him right in his ink.
Too much of a butt. It's ink.
I don't know if it's
butt.
ink or paint.
Who knows?
I'll punch you in the paint.
Harry recognizes his voice, but he cannot place it. All the other portraits start yelling at Phineas that he's being subordinate and that it's their duty to give service to the current headmaster of Hogwarts. Like they're ganging up on him. But then Harry remembers that voice, and Dumbledore says, Sirius knows not to destroy your portrait, said Dumbledore, because Phineas is like, if my portrait's even still there.
So that means he wouldn't have sent that message that day. Boom. You're wrong, Tiffany. You're wrong. Say you're sorry. I want a 4-letter apology.
You. There's your 4 letters.
Oh my goodness.
Did I say 4 letters?
you
Or
did.
4 ba-
That's why I said it.
That was good. That was good.
You're welcome.
Harry realized immediately where he had heard Phineas's voice before, issuing from the apparently empty frame in his bedroom in Grimmauld Place. You are to give him the message that Arthur Weasley has been gravely injured and that his wife, children, and Harry Potter will be arriving at his house shortly. Do you understand? Arthur Weasley, injured, wife, children, and Harry Potter coming to stay, recited Phineas in a bored voice. Yes, very well.
What a Slytherin.
Hey.
Whoa. I wonder, though, like, what Hermione thinks after this whole thing. Because, like, I totally forgot. Not totally forgot about
She's
her, but,
not
like,
there.
She's not, though. You know what I mean? She
Yeah,
wakes up and,
dude.
like, all of her friends are gone and all the Weasleys are gone.
Yeah.
Like, panicked.
Probably freaks out a little bit.
At the
Probably
disco.
for sure. I write sins, not tragedies.
That's great.
Oh my goodness.
I almost said another title of their songs, but it is inappropriate.
Also quite long.
Yeah, they're very long. All right, good
That
old
first
Phineas.
album, though, it's a good songs.
Yeah. Phineas slopes away because he cannot be rushed to deliver
my
this
God.
important message at all. And then the door opens again, right on cue. Then Fred, George, and Ginny are ushered in by McGee. All 3 of them look like, I mean, clearly they were woken up, but they all look just disheveled and shocked. They're still in their pajamas. And Ginny looks at Harry and she's like, what's going on? McGonagall said you saw our dad hurt. Like, what's happening? But Dumbledore interrupts and he tells them, like, your dad's been injured during his work for the Order of the Phoenix. He's been taken to St. Mungo's. I'm sending you guys to Sirius's house. You're going to meet your mom there. Fred clearly looks shaken. He's like, how are we going to get there? Flu powder? And Dumbledore's like, no, Flu Network isn't safe at the moment, and it is being watched, which we did know from Sirius, right? When he talked to Harry through the fire. Yes.
But I feel like this is like on a different level than that, because like what Sirius was doing at that point was illegal. Let's be real. So like he was fluing into the Gryffindor common room to talk to Harry. Sirius is supposed to be in jail.
Technically, everything Sirius does is illegal because he's supposed to be in Azkaban.
But
I mean, he didn't do anything wrong.
He's eating illegally out of Azkaban.
but like even Dumbledore can't safely use the Flu Network for anything right now. Like I just think that is a little bit crazy.
Who
to
would
think
like
about.
that
That's
job?
intense.
To watch the
Peeping
Flu
into
Network.
fires.
Yeah, like think about it. Think about like, ooh,
Not me.
what am I looking for?
I wonder if that's
You
like a
have dark
section at the
hair
ministry.
and you got like light eyes. Are they green? Are you Harry Potter? Where's that scar? What's Dumbledore doing? What you doing, Dumbledore?
So crazy.
I'm surprised that a port key is more secure, honestly. Because, like, don't you think... I guess maybe since Dumbledore created it, it's not necessarily, like, easily tracked. I'm just trying to think. Because, like, I guess maybe port keys can't really be tracked.
These are
Because if you think
unregistered
about...
port keys.
Yeah, because, like, if you think about Newt using the...
Bucket.
Yeah, using that bucket. It's like the ministry doesn't know that he used a port key. They'll only know that he traveled illegally if like they spot him not in England. You know what I mean?
Magical things, man.
We don't see you in England, so you must have traveled. But realistically, like he just could be hiding out in his whole house, you know, his little hidey hole house.
Hidey hole house.
Yeah.
Okay. Dumbledore.
So they will travel by portkey. But I
Will
think
they?
you can get in trouble with unregistered portkeys.
You
Oh,
can
for
if
sure.
you get caught.
Ah.
Slytherin.
But like, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's different though. Like, if you're traveling within like the country, you know
In
what I
all
mean?
fairness,
Versus
I would use one
internationally.
illegally, I
Like,
think.
yeah, heck yeah.
If you need to.
Heck yeah.
hey.
I guarantee that you've done something illegal while driving. You probably all have. Have you gone a mile over the speed limit? That's illegal.
Actually, no.
But Bray Alexander Hamilton said he's perfect, just in case anybody cares.
Honey, we know you are.
I mean, he's a Ravenclaw, so yes. But yeah, like I think it's less of a big deal. Like, and it's different, I think, right now because
Yeah.
there's so much animosity. But I think normally, like, okay, so you're
Not a biggie.
fluing from Scotland to London, like big whoop. Where if we were or not fluing,
big whoop.
port keying. Port
keying.
keying from wherever to wherever. But if you're going to like say France or like America, that's a bigger deal. Right. Because you're going international and that's like a whole other like totally different country. Which I guess Scotland and England, but it's like all Great Britain, you know.
Okay.
And wizarding things.
Salsa.
I'm just saying. Sorry, Katie, you can go on.
No, you
Tell me
are
what they're
fine.
gonna do.
Probably not
gonna-
even 2 sentences in.
Nope. No, I'm fine. They are traveling by portkey. Okay. They're just waiting on Phineas to report back so that they know that the coast is clear. Quote, there was oh my God, this made me so mad as I was reading it. There was a flash of flame in the very middle of the office, leaving behind a single golden feather that floated gently to the floor. It is Fawkes's warning, said Dumbledore, catching the feather as it fell. She must know you're out of bed. Minerva, go and head her off. Tell her any story. Professor McGonagall was gone in a swish of tartan, which, first of all, that's adorable.
Swish.
But, like, as I was reading this, I forgot all about... I forgot about this whole book. So, like, Dumbledore has to, like, tiptoe, you know what I mean? Like, that shows you the severity
Yeah.
of this woman's interference.
Yeah.
But like why does she know that they're out of bed? Like what tipped her off?
Yeah.
Mrs.
Maybe
Norris.
Mrs. Norris. Yeah.
You think so?
She,
I guess that like
she's in cahoots
her-
with Filch. Yeah. And Mrs. Norris, you know. Yeah. I
Dude,
guarantee
See,
it
this
was
is why you
Mrs.
can't
Norris.
trust cats.
Whoa.
Hey.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding. I like some
I
cats. Like
need
Iggy's
to
really
leave.
cute. Teddy's also very cute.
We have
Thank
Iggy and
you.
Teddy
Best.
figurines. We love those kits.
You do?
Well,
Me and
Alana
Alana.
does.
Aptly named. Their positions are perfect.
Just kidding. In case anybody thinks I was serious about whatever I said about cats,
You didn't even know.
I don't remember. Whatever
I said, I'm sorry.
But realistically, do you trust your cat like not to knock things over? You know what I mean?
No.
So really, can you trust them? They can be cute and all that stuff, but you don't know.
You can't trust him with that for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Phineas comes back and he says Sirius would be delighted to have them. And Dumbledore acts so fast. He gathers them all around his desk and to use the portkey. And as he's counting down, I'm going to read from the book again. It happened in a fraction of a second. In the infinitesimal pause before Dumbledore said 3, Harry looked up at him. They were very close together, and Dumbledore's clear blue gaze moved from the portkey to Harry's face. At once, Harry's scar burned white hot, as though the old wound had burst open again. And unbidden, unwanted, but terrifyingly strong, there rose within Harry a hatred so powerful he felt for that instant that he would like nothing better than to strike, to bite, to sink his fangs into the man before him.
Can you just explain to me like what happened, if I'm being honest?
No, I was going to ask what are the thoughts here.
So here's what it makes me think. Okay, so we know
It makes
that
me think of rainbows and butterflies and just everything magical.
So we know that Arthur has been rescued at this point.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if this is dumb. Gosh darn it! If Voldemort finding out.
But like, why is
feeling,
he's looking at Dumbledore?
Because
he's
everything
worried
goes
about
back
that
to
connection.
Dumbledore. It's
like,
always Dumbledore, right? So it kind of makes me wonder if in that moment Voldemort was thinking, it's stinking Dumbledore again. Or I've been thwarted again.
Like, I wonder, like, you know how he's in Harry's mind, so like Harry could see through the Horcrux, yada, yada, whatever. Could he see like Dumbledore? Like, did Dumbledore just pop into his mind at that moment? Like, his actual dream was intercepted or interrupted by the whole Nagini thing?
Or do you think this is Voldemort actually realizing and looking through Harry?
Yeah, could be.
Because this is the moment where we find out something's different.
Maybe this is the moment where like he really gets that connection.
But didn't Voldemort not know about the connection yet?
I don't know. I just want to know, like, why exactly this happened. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, why, when looking at Dumbledore, did he feel he wanted to?
I feel like this is
bite.
the moment. Vinny's also saying this is the moment that he realizes it, because
so maybe
how
that
in the world would
of
Arthur have, like, there's something different this time? And how much can Voldemort see of Harry's
This
thoughts?
is the moment where he realizes. So, like...
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe
Voldemort was controlling Nagini and something went wrong.
I don't think something went
like, could
wrong,
he sense that Harry was there, if you will?
I think that the fact that... So the thing is, Nagini attacks Arthur. Is Nagini gone immediately after that? Or is Nagini watching and reports back kind of in the connection to Voldemort how quickly someone came? And that is kind of like a trigger in his mind saying, clearly something happened here. Nobody should have known about this. There's no portraits around. Who would have known that something happened to Arthur? So clearly there is some other connection, and he probably makes the connection that it was Harry, because who else would it be?
I would say, but to say like that nothing went wrong, like Nagini, I don't think was supposed to bite him at all, because she says like, I'm basically not here for him.
She does it just for insurance, basically.
Yeah, so like that was not part of the plan.
I'm just saying.
And he moved, and I think she got like
scared
nervous. So she just, you know, when you see those shows where like they're doing something illegal.
I don't know,
they end up killing someone. So
let
like
me just consult Book 7.
But I mean, I think that like if he realizes it, like I wonder if there's just like a moment where like they're connected, and he, like, Harry saw what Nagini was seeing and what Nagini was doing. I wonder if there's a moment where like Voldemort then sees what Harry sees and sees Dumbledore like in his mind's eye. You know what I mean? Like the connection reverse for a second, not reverse, because like it goes both ways a little bit.
Yes, babe.
So I think that what I was getting confused is at this moment, he doesn't know Harry's a Horcrux. That is kind of what I was saying. But I was right in the sense that Voldemort does not know about the Horcrux yet. He knows of a connection to Harry, and I think that he thinks that that connection is a thing because of the blood that he took from Harry at the end of Goblet of Fire. And that is why he thinks of a connection, not because there's a Horcrux, not because Harry's a Horcrux, but because he thinks that there's some sort of connection now because of the blood that they share.
Gotcha. So, like, you think they are, like, he realizes there's a connection right now.
Yes.
He just doesn't realize what the actual connection
is.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, because he never knows until
the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, until it's too
end.
late.
Yeah.
So I went to Cora, our fave.
Cora.
And someone by the name of Deanna says Voldemort might have thought the connection with Harry came from the blood they shared after he came to full form once again, but that doesn't sufficiently explain the connection prior to this. I think that Voldemort doesn't really always look at the whole picture when it comes to this sort of thing. So in his mind, he makes the connection because of the shared blood, even though it's much more than that. And we know that, but he doesn't. So perhaps Voldemort thought a form of dark magic kept the two connected. Since Voldemort couldn't kill Harry as an infant, then he must have known there was a reason why. And he certainly wouldn't consider Lily Potter's sacrifice as sufficient to cause Harry and Voldemort to have a connection, because he doesn't really believe in love.
Me either, dude.
So she then goes on to say, I think the connection scared Voldemort, though he would never confess it. And I'm sure Voldemort wondered about the nature of his connection with Harry, but I do not think Voldemort would have thought he had created another Horcrux. Why? Because Voldemort was arrogant and powerful, and he believed himself to be above others, and he thought he was one of the few who had dared to plumb the depths of wizarding knowledge about Horcruxes. Voldemort thought too highly of himself. Wouldn't he know if he created another Horcrux? Wouldn't he feel it, suspect it? That's what would have gone through his mind if he considered the possibility. Since Harry lived despite Voldemort's attempt to kill him, and because the rebounding curse caused the temporary downfall of Voldemort, I think Voldemort, stunned as he was by his downfall, spent more time trying to figure out how Harry had defeated him. Right. Sure, Potter as an infant did not cause the complete downfall of Voldemort due to the many other Horcruxes in existence, but this surprise defeat is what Voldemort thought about most often. It's what fed and tormented his twisted mind. Voldemort wanted Harry dead. Sorry, this is long, but it's really good. He must have been sure what happened before would not happen again, especially since Voldemort insisted on killing Harry himself. I think Voldemort would have succeeded in killing Harry if he knew about the Horcrux. He would have had someone else give the killing curse in the Forbidden Forest, and then it would have just been plain Harry Potter there alone before him in the forest. Though there was the matter of the wands to consider also, but that complicates things. So perhaps Voldemort would have needed a different wand in addition to the removal of the Horcrux within Harry. So there's just like, he could have figured out how to kill Harry had he known about that connection.
I wondered part of like him not realizing that connection being like Harry, like having part of his soul is that like, so the second that happened, like he no longer has like his actual body and he's just kind of doing whatever, you know what I mean? He's whatever Voldemort was until he like became whatever he was in the goblet before he like fully came back. So like, I wonder if part of him, like he didn't feel like he did before, but he's also like completely changed anyways. So like, maybe he's like, this is just my new normal. Where like you know what I mean? Like he went through a lot. So like, it would make sense for him not to feel or be as whole as he was pre him trying to kill all of the Potters, you know?
Yeah. I actually went to chapter 37 of Order, and it's called The Lost Prophecy. So this is when
they lose a prophecy.
Yeah.
Gotta go find it.
Harry's back in Dumbledore's office, and Dumbledore does part of some explaining. And it's really good because they actually are talking about this night in this moment here. So Dumbledore says, I believed it could not be long before Voldemort attempted to force his way into your mind to manipulate and misdirect your thoughts, and I was not eager to give him more incentives to do so. So that kind of goes, not to toot my own horn, but that moment where he finally realized, like, he didn't think it would be long. This is the moment. It wasn't very long. I was sure that if he realized that our relationship was or ever had been closer than that of headmaster and pupil, he would seize his chance to use you as a means to spy on me. And by spying, and people love to hate on Dumbledore, but by spying on Dumbledore is to spy and take down the rest of the wizarding world.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to realize. It's not a selfish thing that he was doing. Yeah. And so y'all can, write your little letters to swishflickcast@gmail.com where I will promptly put them in the trash. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But you can write me if you'd like.
But that's the thing that I think people forget.
Yeah,
is that
it's bigger than
Dumbledore's not thinking about himself
one person.
Really. He's truly thinking about if he has to be the sacrificial lamb for the entire wizarding world, he's gonna do it. And unfortunately, Harry also needs to be a sacrificial lamb.
Right.
But part of Harry, I think because of the way he was raised and, how Dumbledore kind of helped and everyone around him really, and some not even realizing them doing this, they made him into the man that walks into that forest being all right, I know I have to die and I'm willing to do that because once I die, they can kill Voldemort. It can be gone, dead, ended, and then it's over. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where not everyone would be like that. And I think that both Dumbledore and Harry are those types of people being if it means me dying to save all of these people, I'm willing to do it.
Literally go back to Christianity. That's comparing Harry to Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a tough thing to say and to think and to do. But really, think about there's people out there. Think about all those people that are soldiers. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That they're willing to die for their country.
But he oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish. Sorry. There's another thing that's confirmed later on in order that I want to.
Okay, I might. Talk about. We'll see if I touch on it at all. I just wanted to read this because it's literally what's going on right now. I feared the uses to which he would put you, the possibility that he might try and possess you. Harry, I believe I was right to think that Voldemort would have made use of you in such a way. On those rare occasions when we had close contact, I thought I saw a shadow of him stir behind your eyes. You did. I was trying, in distancing myself from you, to protect you. An old man's mistake. Harry remembered the feeling that a dormant snake had risen in him, ready to strike on the occasions when he and Dumbledore had made eye contact.
Can I just say what Alexander Hamilton said?
Tell me.
Chat? Dumbledore was on that social distancing game before it was cool.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. But literally, that is one of the examples is from this night where, he looks into Voldemort's eyes and it's he's never felt that before. That's not a Harry feeling.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was the Horcrux.
It was the Horcrux.
Tiffany, it's finally your time to shine.
Well, you put that on a dang shirt.
I put it on a sticker. Listen, COVID
That's
has
not
still
a shirt.
messed up
I
our
can't
shirt
wear
situation.
A sticker.
Yeah, you can.
You can
not
wear
for
a sticker
long.
loud and proud.
Alana's going to pull that right off. Go ahead.
There's another part in Order of the Phoenix 2 that confirms a little bit about this night in the chapter about occlumency with Snape. So Harry says, I saw inside the snake's head, not his. I thought I just told you not to interrupt me, Potter. But Harry did not care if Snape was angry. At last, he seemed to be getting to the bottom of this business. He had moved forward in his chair so that without realizing it, he was perched on the very edge, tense as though poised for flight. How come I saw through the snake's eyes if it's Voldemort's thoughts I'm sharing? Do not say the Dark Lord's name, spat Snape. There was a nasty silence. They glared at each other across the Pensieve. Professor Dumbledore says his name, said Harry quietly. Dumbledore is an extremely powerful wizard, Snape muttered. While he may feel secure enough to use the name, the rest of us, he rubbed his left forearm, apparently unconsciously, on the spot where Harry knew the dark mark was burned into his skin. I just wanted to know, Harry began again, forcing his voice back to politeness. Why? You seem to have visited the snake's mind because that was where the Dark Lord was at that particular moment, snarled Snape. He was possessing the snake at the time, and so you dreamed you were inside it too. So, just confirmation that he did possess Nagini at that point. So, yeah.
Bananas, man.
Basically. Thank you, Marchismo, for pulling that for me.
Guys, that was nuts.
I mean, it's really, there's so many.
Do you wonder why I split these things? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I literally could have split it into Megan and my section, and it would have been a great length of an episode.
I mean, well, we talked about this, like, realistically lately, like, our episodes have been pretty long, but like, we're talking Potter for 3 hours on half of a chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot to
these
say.
docs like souls.
Oh, whoa. The Hufflepuff coming in there some dark stuff.
Listen, the other color's black. How many times did I have to reiterate?
Yellow and black, yellow and black.
It's black and yellow is how that song goes, if that's what you were trying
Yellow
to
and
do.
black. Yellow and black.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
I do what I want.
Yellow and black, yellow and black.
She's a snake. A small snake with big dreams.
All right, back to this. Well,
Do you
we're
even
still
know where
on
you
chapter.
are?
Where were you
I
at?
do, actually.
Oh, okay. Because
They
I don't.
vanish on 3 with the port key. I got
you
rhymes.
You rhyming, girl.
And they arrive at Grimmauld Place. So they appear in the gloomy basement kitchen. It's kind of a sad scene because you can just see the light from the fire. There's one like sputtering candle and just the remains of one supper. So poor Sirius was just sitting there by himself.
But it's past like midnight, like way past midnight. So like, why don't you clean your dishes, dude?
Yeah, I could see Sirius living that bachelor life and really
Yeah, I
not
guess.
cleaning up after himself. Yeah.
Vinny also pulled a quote from Half-Blood Prince
You guys. On fire.
that says he believed he was making himself invincible. I'm sure that he was intending to make his final Horcrux with your death.
Yeah.
As we know, he failed. After an interval of some years, however, he used Nagini to kill an old Muggle man, and it might then have occurred to him to turn her into his last Horcrux. She underlines the Slytherin connection, which enhances Lord Voldemort's mystique. I think he's perhaps as fond of her as he can be of anything, except maybe Bellatrix. He certainly likes to keep her close, and he seems
my
to have
God.
an unusual amount of control over her, even for a Parselmouth.
I just had a
But
thought.
don't we, hold on.
no.
We know that he didn't use Frank to create a Horcrux. He used Bertha
It gave
Jorkins,
him
which
the
is...
idea. Yeah.
But
I think
Bertha
that
Jorkins
Frank-
was killed before Frank.
That's true.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he did use Frank then.
No, she's said that she's named all of the people that
Bertha.
Well, then
was
she's
used.
messing up something in here.
I just had a thought.
Well, maybe they just don't know that it's exactly like they knew that he wanted her to be a Horcrux.
Yeah, maybe this is
and
them
they
just
don't know
talking and
that
guessing.
Bertha Jorkins was killed
Yeah.
then and used. I don't know.
Tiffany.
In making Nagini a Horcrux, he tied her life to his. Meaning that if he was going to live forever, so was she.
Who, Nagini?
Yeah.
True.
Can you literally live forever if you make Horcruxes, though?
Only I can live forever.
I mean, I think theoretically, if your Horcruxes
like that.
work, then yeah.
You're going to be like that thing
but
in
like-
SpongeBob.
But I wonder, like, if he would turn into like
Chocolate.
what Nicholas Flamel was like. Like, I mean, he'd probably age, but like, I don't know.
But like, would I don't
But
know.
isn't that crazy?
I feel like they would eventually die, or like eventually, like he has to use all of his Horcrux, and he's on his last one. What does he
like
do?
he actually, as much as Voldemort could care about something, because he screams. He screams when Bellatrix dies, and he screams when Nagini's head lops off. Because he actually cares about those two things in some
I
kind
think
of a
with
manner.
Nagini, like that's someone, and
I gotta know that relationship.
how long
and I'm not
exactly?
Sure if we're
Like
gonna
how
actually
long?
find
We
it
know
out.
that they've been together years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like decades, probably.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they've got to have something.
Vinny, I just saw they found like a bananas old shark. It looks horrific. It's like 300 some years old, 367-year-old shark.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it looks like it's 367. You know what I'm saying?
Does it?
Some old sushi.
Ew.
Yeah, it does. Did you Google it?
I am right now.
No, just old sushi sounds terrible.
All right, Katie, keep going because I gotta go to bed at some point.
All right.
Never.
Quick little funny moment in this is Creature like runs away real fast and it says that he's hitching up his loincloth, and that just made me giggle. And Sirius appears and he looks super anxious. Obviously, he's unshaven. He's still in day clothes, so he has not gone to bed at whatever time this is. And he has a slight mundungus-like whiff of stale drink about him. So I can see
He is
him
depressed.
Yes, I can see him knocking it back by himself.
Yeah.
Often. This poor guy.
Sad.
So Sirius is like, well, what's going on? And Fred's like, Fred and George are they're really on edge right now, which you can't blame them. They don't know what the heck's going on. But he's like, ask Harry. And George is like, yeah, I want to hear it for myself too. And you can hear Creature's footsteps stop on the stairs outside. So he is eavesdropping, which I think he does often. It was worse for Harry to tell all of them than it was to tell McGonagall or Dumbledore. But he told them everything they'd seen except about how he was the snake. He made it seem more like he saw it, that fly on the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he thinks that he sees something accusatory in Fred, George, and Ginny's looks at him. Do you think that's real? Do you think that's Harry's just guilt? Do you think that's anxiety?
Guilt, for sure. Guilt.
Yeah.
And his like anxiety of thinking like,
I mean, they are in kind of, I don't want to say that, I don't like their right mind about this. And they know that can't happen. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Right,
Harry.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because really
Poor
the
Harry.
only one that knows exactly what happened in this room right now is Ron, because he was there when
Right.
it happened. He was there when he retold it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
God, it's just such a tough thing.
Yeah. Whatever he's feeling, it does make him more glad that he altered the story. I mean, this kid's dealing with a lot on an everyday basis, especially now.
Yeah.
So Fred asks Sirius if their mom is there, and Sirius is like, she probably doesn't even know yet. The important thing was to get you guys away from Umbridge before she could interfere at all. And again, this is just a huge telltale of just how much she is interfering.
Could she really stop them from going?
Yes.
But like, what would be the purpose of that?
Just
Just to
because
be
they
cruel?
want it so much.
It's probably
Yes.
some
Yes, to
rule
be
that
cruel.
she had that says that
And-
you can't leave Hogwarts unless it's like Easter holiday or Christmas
And
or
if she
whatever.
stumbles up there, she'll be like, oh my God, here's Dumbledore helping these kids do something. Here's some sort of conspiracy that's
Yeah,
going on. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, she would twist it to however she needed it to be twisted
Right.
Yeah.
to fit whatever agenda.
Dumb.
Yeah. So Sirius guesses that Dumbledore is letting Molly know now. And Ginny's like, we gotta go to St. Mungo's. And Sirius is like, you can't. And Fred's ticked off and he's like, we can go if we want. It's our dad. And Sirius is like, how are you going to explain how you knew Arthur was attacked before the hospital even lets his wife know? And George very hotly says, like, how does that matter? And Sirius says it matters because we don't want to draw attention to the fact that Harry's having visions of things that are happening miles away. Have you any idea what the ministry would make of that information? So I think, as per our last episode, I think these visions have been talked about, whether it's just with Sirius and Dumbledore or within the Order. It's been discussed. Yes.
I just want to point out here for all the people that say Sirius is like a bad father figure, he actually does a really fantastic job of reining them in right here.
Does.
But I think part of, not saying he's not that, but like he's been through this, you know what I mean? And he's been through it where he's like, you're willing to do whatever it takes when you're in the Order, because that's, if it takes your life, like you go in knowing that that's a risk. And like, yes, like he gets the, totally understands where they're coming from, being like, they want to go and storm and see their dad, because really, like, he's the very first person, once he finds out what happens to James and Lily and Harry, he's the very first person that's there, you know what I mean? Like, and then next comes Hagrid, and Hagrid finds Sirius there, so it's kind of like, that's compounds on like the then storyline of like Sirius was the one that like told everybody and whatever else. But Sirius has been that person worrying about his loved ones. So he gets it, but he also is like, you can't, and like it sucks, but you cannot go right now. You can't go see your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just surprises me, like, at this moment in time, how, like, logical he is in this moment. Like, he's very, like, he just does a good job of basically saying, like, I get it, but we have to wait.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all of the work that we've been doing will come to light and, like, will be caught, basically, as undermining the ministry, which is not going to go over well in any way, shape, or form. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
To your point too, and I'll read that soon, there's a point where Sirius could have flown off the handle and been, you know, the Sirius we've talked about in the past.
For sure.
But he doesn't. So Fred and George totally look like they could care less what the ministry thinks. Ron is still silent. He's just very white. And Ginny is kind of like trying to reach a compromise. She's like, well, you know, maybe we could spin it like someone else could have told us. We heard it somewhere else. So here's from the chapter. Like who, said Sirius impatiently. Listen, your dad's been hurt while on duty for the order, and the circumstances are fishy enough without his children knowing about it seconds after it happened. You could seriously damage the orders. We don't care about the dumb order, shouted Fred. It's our dad dying we're talking about, yelled George. Your father knew what he was getting into, and he won't thank you for messing things up for the order, said Sirius angrily in his turn. This is how it is. This is why you're not in the order. You don't understand. There are things worth dying for. To Sarah's point. Easy for you to say, stuck here, bellowed Fred. Oof. I don't see you risking your neck. The little color remaining in Sirius's face drained from it. He looked for a moment as though he would quite like to hit Fred, but when he spoke, it was in a voice of determined calm. I know it's hard, but we've all got to act as though we don't know anything yet. We've got to stay put, at least until we hear from your mother, all right? Like, who he could have.
That could have went a whole nother direction.
And I bet you, like, if it was, you know, 2 years ago or whatever, straight out of Azkaban.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't even mean it like that when you said it. He totally, like, Fred would have gotten a fist to his face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that he's grown and he now, like, everything is, like, a lot more. No pun intended, it's a lot more serious. But like, I mean, I get it from like both standpoints, but like Sirius has been through it, you know what I mean? Like he's like, yeah, it's life or death. And yeah, it sucks.
And honestly, like he can speak to that because like he went through the first war and it is a good reason, and this is part of the reason why Fred and George aren't in the order yet, is because they're using their emotions right now, where this is a moment that you have to turn them off.
Because even think about like, and Sirius is probably speaking from, well, I mean, we know he's speaking from experience, but like he did act on his emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he saw that his two best friends were killed. And you know what I mean?
He didn't want the twins to be reckless.
Kind of flew off the handle and then did what he did, and then he landed in Azkaban for 12 years. So maybe that's part of him being like, trying to like not sacrifice, but like make sure that like I don't want you to go through what I do. And it's also probably a little foreshadowing to him dying for, you know, the cause.
Yeah. We're gonna say something, Meg.
I was just going to say that I think that this is his experience with flying off the handle and having horrible consequences because of it, and just picturing the same thing happening to these children, especially with like the state that the ministry's in right now. Like they don't care that Ginny is 14. Like if she shows up at Mungo's and says that she knows that her dad was injured before even Molly shows up or anything, they're going to be like, what do you know? We're taking you in for questioning. Like they won't hold back. I mean, like look at what Umbridge does to the kids later on in this book. Like she's about to use the Cruciatus curse on them for
Yeah.
information. Like, what
Yeah.
makes you think that Umbridge wouldn't show up at Mungo's because Ginny is a student and she's supposed to
And
be
she's in charge.
Yeah, she's in charge
Yeah.
of Ginny. So, like, what would Umbridge do to Ginny? And I guarantee you, like, Sirius understands. He understands, like, the realness of Umbridge, like the threat. I get, like the threat of Umbridge and
Possible consequences.
Well,
Right.
and I think like it's easy for these kids really to not understand how corrupt a government can be. And Sirius has had 12 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, he didn't even get a trial, none of those things, you know what I mean? And maybe in the beginning he didn't really help himself by saying like he blamed himself anyways for their deaths. So like him saying like I did it, like you didn't, like dude, like you literally didn't kill them. So saying you did it, you're whatever, but like that's going to throw you under the bus. So, but he's had 12 years. And even now, after the fact, we're like, there are now people being like, it literally wasn't him, it was Peter Pettigrew. And he's still on the loose and now being told, like the government's like, oh, he's still out there. He's the reason all these things are happening. So like, he really gets it from like all sides where like, they just don't care. And they don't really maybe realize like how big of a ripple effect it would have if they went right now to St. Mungo's.
Yeah.
Like Dumbledore would be gone out of Hogwarts faster than you could say like hopscotch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like, I think that this really is just like the perfect example as to how in this sense, Molly is absolutely correct for not allowing Fred and George in the order, because right now they truly just don't understand the consequences of reacting with your emotions in these situations. And they don't really even understand the fact that like, Arthur knew going into this that something like this could happen, and how they're reacting to the situation is genuinely what Arthur would want them to do. But Fred and George are reacting like, no, hot-headedness. I need to go in. I need to see my dad. Whereas Arthur genuinely would want them to listen to the order.
Did when she was writing this, did she know she was going to like kill off one of the twins?
I don't know.
Because I wonder, because like Fred is the one that's like speaking more to Sirius, and so it's almost like Sirius is talking just to Fred. So he's like, you know, there's like some stuff that's worth dying for, and both of them die during this. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Maybe.
It's an interesting point.
Maybe.
It's just so sad. It's just so sad. And when I get to it, I'm gonna really cry because I might cry now. So we gotta stop talking to me.
Well, good thing it's your part. Almost
Done.
She's like
Katie's
a
not done.
Almost. So Fred and George are still, they're just glaring at Sirius. I like that Ginny is the first of the Weasley kids to go and sit. She's like, all right, like, I like, she kind of like, I think she can see a whole situation. Yeah, she's fired up too. We know she can be hot-headed. Book Ginny's cool. But she's like, you know what? This is the best thing I can do right now. So she goes and sits. That makes Ron go and sit. And then here comes the twins finally sit down as well. Yes.
Sorry.
Megan.
Okay.
You're killing me today.
I think that this situation perfectly shows the Weasley children's like personalities and how they react to things. Like Ginny, like you said, like Ginny is hot-headed, but she also sees reason. Whereas the twins are much more, I mean, they're not that mature. They are very like, and like how they are works great for like who they become as adults, and like how they're entrepreneurs, and like that's very them. And Ginny goes into like, it's just perfect. And like Ron is just there, and that's why he works so well with Hermione, because poor Ron just does not handle emotions well at all and doesn't know how to react to situations. And it's just great.
But like, I mean, how do you react to this situation? Like I feel like I'd be more of a Ron where
it's hard.
I feel like when I get news like this, I almost like shut down. You know what I mean? Like, I also don't like showing my emotions. So another reason I'm just like Ron.
Jenny. I would like in the moment, like for the first moment, I would be like, no, like I want to go. But then like once Sirius talked, I'd be like, I don't want to admit that you're right, but you're right. So I guess I'll listen to you. Like kind of like that. I feel like that's Ginny in this moment.
You're borderline Fred and George.
A little.
But Ginny.
A little. I'm a combo. Yeah, I'm a combo. I guess it depends on the situation, huh?
That's where you need me to talk you down.
Yeah. As my mom says, I'm her strength and Kate's her peace.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like I mostly this is such a Ravenclaw thing to say, but I need all the facts before I can really super process information like that.
It is quite Ravenclaw of you.
A very tough thing to do, and like I don't know. Anyways, so Sirius has them all drinking some butterbeer, and it's like noted like Harry really is only drinking it so he has something to do with his hands, because really like his stomach is full of knots and full of guilt. Like he's just super guilty of like everything. He's blaming himself for everyone being there, and that he's thinking like if it wasn't for him, they would all still be asleep. But then Arthur probably wouldn't have been found because like he didn't do this. So like even if he hadn't have had his vision of like being there, this would have still happened, you know? And honestly, Arthur would not have been found.
Arthur would have been dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Arthur would not be in the good hands of people at St. Mungo's.
Which she was going to do anyway.
Correct.
But then didn't.
Correct.
As we all know. Spoiler, sorry.
But also, you know, if it wasn't for him, he was thinking like, hold on. That's
the second time you've done that tonight.
But also, if it wasn't for him, Arthur probably wouldn't have been attacked. He's thinking, but then he had to remind himself that he didn't have fangs. He was just laying in bed and he didn't attack anyone. So he's like trying to almost get out of that mindset of like, it wasn't him that did it. Like he wasn't the reason it happened. And, you know, his hands were shaking, holding the butterbeer literally so much like he even sloshed it out of I almost called it a can. It's in a bottle. So he's like trying to calm himself down with like his thinking. And he was also kind of thinking about like what happened in Dumbledore's office where he like looked into his eyes and like wanted to sink his fangs into him and like bite him. He wanted to taste, you know?
Oh.
So he slams the bottle down. And then there's like a burst of fire in the air and everyone's like, ah! And a piece of parchment fell onto the table. In Sirius notes, like, oh, that's from Fawkes. Like, but that doesn't look like Dumbledore's writing. So he's like, it's probably from Molly. So he hands it to George to read. And all the parchment said is, Dad is alive. I'm setting out for St. Mungo's now. Stay where you are. I will send news as soon as I can, Mom. Which is like it's like a breath of fresh air, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so he's alive right now, but like, what's going to happen? Because like, this is a super grave situation, like, where they don't know, you know what I mean? Like, he's not out of the woods right now, with his health. So, you know, Arthur is still alive, and Harry was thinking about how really that sounded like he was on the cusp of life and death. And so it's like no one was really talking. Harry was trying really hard to get the shaking of his hands to stop, but he couldn't remember really like a longer night than the one he was having right now. And then Sirius kind of suggested that they all go to bed, and nobody liked that idea. So they spent the majority of the night just kind of waiting for any news. And really they only spoke to each other like just to hear like the time and really to assure them that like if there was any bad news, like they would have heard by then. And they would have heard it straight away.
Right.
And so like really no one slept that night and they just waited. So finally at 5:10 in the morning, Molly came through the kitchen door. And she says, he's going to be all right. She said, her voice weak with tiredness. He's sleeping. We can all go and see him later. Bill's sitting with him. He's going to take the morning off of work. And so like, as much as like that is a breath of fresh air, like that's still, it's scary to not be there, you know what I mean? Like that's their dad, and
see for yourself.
It's just hard. And so I'm gonna try not to cry while talking about this because it makes me sad that they have to go through this. So Fred like basically falls off his chair. Ginny and George go to like hug their mom, and then Ron kind of like just downs the rest of his butterbeer. So Sirius then calls for Creature to make them breakfast. But he doesn't answer. So Sirius just gets up and he's like, all right, I'm going to start making bacon and eggs for everyone. He like counts and there's seven people there and he's going to make them tea as well. So then Harry like gets up with him to help with the food because he really doesn't want to intrude on this family moment because he didn't really like to think about. He was kind of like just waiting for Molly to just ask him to retell the story of like his vision all over again. And he really doesn't want to have to do that. And so he's barely been able to like even like pick up plates to like set out when Molly like takes them out of his hands and she gives him like a giant hug, which is what the second real hug he's had probably since he can remember.
Been a minute.
And she thanks him because really if it wasn't for him, who knows how long it would have been taken someone to find Arthur. And then she also kind of like lets him know that Dumbledore was able to come up with like a cover story for why Arthur was where he was. So kind of like just to assure like everything is fine. Like, thank you like for what you did. Like you are the reason he's still alive. And really like that's not something Harry is comfortable with. He's not comfortable with Molly thanking him. Because he doesn't feel like he should be thanked. You know, he feels like this is his fault. And if it wasn't for him, Arthur wouldn't have been attacked and everyone wouldn't have had this horrible night.
Yeah.
Where that's just not the case. And really, like, I don't think Harry is used to this type of attention anyways, because he's usually, like, just always in trouble. You know what I mean? He grew up, 10 years of being the kid that caused issues and whatever else with the Dursleys. But soon enough, she, like, moves on to thank Sirius. And she's thanking him for like looking after her kids for the night. And Sirius is like, I'm happy to help. Like, please, if you need anything, you can more than welcome to stay here. It's closer to the hospital or whatever else. And while Arthur's there and yeah.
Well, I like this moment between them because they don't always see eye to eye. And it just lets you know that like at the end of the day, like they really do care about each other.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see.
Yeah. It's just super sad because I just feel bad for Sirius. Like part of it is like, yes, like they like at the end of the day, like they're part of the order. They're both there for the same goal. They both love Harry. You know what I mean? Like that's their dude. And they're willing to they just want to help. They have the same end goal. But really like Sirius has had like months of just being alone.
Yeah.
And so like he's jumping at the chance to like almost like, you know how like a dog gets when like you come home, like Foxy literally was jumping for joy when Marty came home. And like that's his animagus, is a dog. So she says to him, and this is a quote from the book, "Oh, Sirius, I'm so grateful. They think he'll be there a little while, and it would be wonderful to be nearer. Of course, that might mean we're here for Christmas. The more the merrier," said Sirius with such obvious sincerity that Mrs. Weasley beamed at him, threw on an apron, and began to help with breakfast.
Oh my God, my flippin' heart.
It's just like
It's
a
a
sad
big moment for their relationship. I
Yeah.
think.
It genuinely is.
It's just going to be heart-wrenching. My heart is going to be ripped out of my body already and stomped all over because like it's just getting real dark and real sad. Like I mean, Cedric dying, of course, is like very sad. But like these are characters like that I've known and loved. Like not that I didn't love Cedric, but like
we didn't really know him.
It's different. It just is different.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally like crying, like reading like about these kids. Cause like I've been there where like, you know, I get a call, like something's happened to like my parents and you have to wait for news or even like other people in my family. Cause we're super obnoxiously close.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I'm always like the person that's like sobbing. Like I had an uncle that passed away a couple of years ago who I like wasn't super close with and I didn't really care for him, but like, I was close with his kids and my aunt, obviously. And that still like messes me up. Like I feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
It's sad, dude. You know?
Yeah.
It just sucks, you know? Sucks.
Yep.
Okay.
But anyways, I said this is a friendly reminder that Sirius is starved for human contact while being in a house alone for so long and also in prison for 12 years.
Yep.
We know that feeling now with COVID. Especially
How happy do you think he is, though, that like
thrilled,
Harry's going to
genuinely.
be there for Christmas too, on top of just like other people? But like I feel like mostly he's really happy that he's going to have Harry for Christmas.
I think part of it too is like I think because like his animagus is a dog, and I truly think like that's, and this is why I'm more of like a dog person. I love cats, I do, but I love dogs more. That like they're just so bubbly and they're so excited to see you, and like Fozzie is such a great cuddler. You know what I mean? Like, not that he's my dog, but like I've known him longer than his dad has. So
Oh my gosh.
Am I lying?
That's funny.
It might be by like 2 days, but still.
Little poop.
Like, they're just so great. And like, they just want to be like petted and snuggled and be told they're good boys or girls.
Quality
They're a good dog.
pooch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad. I mean, because we all get the sense now, really, after this whole COVID quarantine stuff of like what it's like to be stuck in your house. I'm grateful that I was able to see humans I didn't live with because I am an essential employee, but I feel bad for people that lived alone.
Crazy
I'm sorry,
times.
genuinely. Like,
Crazy
Weird times, man.
yeah.
All right. That's the first half. 20,000 hours later. Give me some questions.
All right.
Give me that. Lightning bolt round.
Oh, okay. I was about to do it, and I was worried I was not gonna remember
How to do it.
how to do
Oh,
it.
you guys,
But
I want to
then
see
didn't
everybody's
do that.
ranks of us.
Yeah, give me
Nerdiest
nerd
to
ranks.
least nerdiest.
All
Let us
right.
rank us each other, like totally like the group, like not each individually. Like Megan thinks A, B, C, D. Katie thinks whatever. You know what I mean? Like let's just collectively think. Again, I think I'm the last one. It's not to say I'm not nerdy, but on the scale of swish to swish, swish to flick, like of the four of us, just the four of us.
Who's the nerdiest?
Yeah, I would say you or Megan.
Yeah.
But who?
But we're like nerdy in like different ways.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Nerdiness.
Yeah.
Megan's nerdier than I am.
Ooh.
Why do you
Marcus thinks
say that?
I'm the least. So does Mia.
Oh, I don't think Katie is the least.
Ooh,
I'm telling you right now,
pretty
Katie is
nerdy.
way, way nerdier. than
I
am.
think it's Meg, me, Kate, Sasa.
Yeah. And honestly, I think Tiffany and Katie are very close. Katie just doesn't always vocalize her nerdiness as much, but it's totes there coming from her wife, I will tell you.
Yeah, I think 1,000% they're all nerdier than me.
Will proudly take the crown. I'm okay with that.
Do you want to know the
How many? Well,
one of the main
tattoo-wise?
reasons why I think you're
Tell me.
nerdier than I am?
Because I read fan fiction.
No,
'Cause
because
I
you
do
collect
roleplay.
pins.
Yes, the
do
role
collect
play thing's
pins.
big.
The role
That is huge. The role play, the fanfic.
Oh, they are saying I made the timeline. That is true, but that's just because I need my
that's
thoughts
just
to be
like-
orderly.
I mean, I guess that's nerdy, but I feel like that's also just like, that's just you.
Yeah,
like
a
that's
nerd.
just something that you do. Like you're, I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like Tiff might be, I don't know, just on the, like, if you're going to go like classic video game level, like I'm a gamer too. But I feel like
But
Tiff's
here's
See,
the
y'all
thing.
are
nerdy in
gamers
that
with like
way.
animal
But
things.
I don't.
and,
I
like,
think that you guys are pretty
Link
tied
stuff.
with that because Tiffany is really nerdy with certain games, just
So am
as
I.
you are very
Yeah.
nerdy with certain games. You guys
Yeah.
just like different games.
They just
but
have to
that
be
doesn't.
You'll know the
Yeah.
Pokemon stuff.
Well, Pokemon, we have that
yeah.
in common.
Yeah.
Pokemon, and then like Katie has always been super into Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Nintendo, like Mario games, whereas Tiffany was more like the Zelda, Pokemon.
Oh, I know me some Mario. Don't you worry.
I know Wario.
We just honestly, Katie and I just played very different Mario games, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
Katie was super into like Sunshine.
yeah, and I was never into Super Mario Sunshine at
My
all.
God,
Like,
Super
I
Mario
was
Galaxy,
the SNES games, Super Mario 64 is super
Dude,
my jam.
that is a really good game though.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we're all the same level of nerd, but in
but in very
drastically different ways.
I mean, we're kind of super nerdy to the highest extent of our houses.
But like, how
know
am
what I
I? Like, what
mean?
is super nerdy? I don't think there's anything super besides this podcast super nerdy about me. If I'm being honest.
The
But I
nerdy
mean,
part of
this
you is that,
podcast is
like,
pretty
you
big part of your
You're a-
nerdiness.
you
Boys,
dissect the things that you like
Yes.
Star Wars, like you
Yeah.
dissect that.
But here's the thing, like I don't dissect it because I literally don't know anything about Star Wars.
But you try to know.
But Sarah, anything in life you like you'll take an interest in something and you will take an interest in it. You know what I mean? Like that's where your nerd comes out. Yeah. And then also you're a science nerd, as Sarah T in the chat just pointed out. You'll be like, did you know that this bone connects to this bone? That connects to this. And it does this.
Like
and
you connect nerdy stuff, like fantasy nerdy stuff with real life stuff. That's your nerddom.
Yeah. Mia said, think about that old school Salem episode. Like that was nerdy.
I guess it's true.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's see what Marchismo said. Meg, details, whole Potter universe, theme parks, plays. Sarah, chronology.
Did JK get this right?
Questions, logic, and timeline. Tiffany, well-rounded, nerdy, multiple fandoms. Me, snacks and kittens, and put a wizard hat on your cat. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate.
Well, I don't know. I feel like part of me with the nerd stuff is just because like I've been surrounded with it my whole life. You know what I mean? Like I did watch Star Wars and stuff as a kid because my siblings and my dad love it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I know also I'm like the least nerdy person in my house besides my mom. I don't know.
Your siblings are pretty nerdy. Yeah.
Oh,
and I mean that as a huge compliment.
I mean, we played Trivial Pursuit almost every week.
Well, we haven't played it. When we were on vacation, so we have teams. So we played literally for months. We've been playing Trivial Pursuit, but it's been Bridget, my dad, and Matt on a team, and then it's Tiffany, myself, Marty, my mom, and Alana technically on the other team, but really it's Marty, Tiffany, and I. And we won the last time we played, and we were going to play it again for my sister's birthday, but I was like, no, we've decided to retire because we won a game. But like my brother Matt is ridiculous.
Literally, in all fairness.
Why do you know the stupid stuff?
Yeah, but they get easy questions, and I'm not just saying
no,
that.
they really do. But there's also some questions where like my sister won't finish reading it, and Marty already answers it.
It's true.
But
can we talk about this conversation though, and the fact that Brandon points out, well, we gather for 3+ hours to talk about 7 pages of a book. So
I mean, yes, I know that this is very nerdy because my other friends that like aren't the Harry Potter people. Like, I didn't know Jen how much of a nerd she was. And I was like, I'm not really that nerdy. She's like, you literally have a Harry Potter podcast. I go, yeah, but like, I feel like that's the only nerdy thing I do.
But I mean, hey, being a nerd is cool.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
All right, let's get to some Lightning Bolt questions from some of our patrons.
That was deep, man.
That was one of them.
It was.
Jeggy asks, would you be able to remain calm after seeing Arthur getting attacked, like in Harry's perspective? Would you be able to be calm at all?
No, dude.
No.
I think I'd be really shaken up, but like
Actually, that's a lie.
I think I'd be able to not super calmly do it, but like tell them like the facts and be like, we need to like get stuff done and
yeah. I'd be like irritated like Harry, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
like,
I'd probably voice
so
it.
Long?
Yeah, I'd probably say it though.
I for sure would say it.
I just wonder if I would have been able to decipher that, like, I did not do, like, I feel like I would have been able to decipher that I didn't do that. I just happened to see that this happened. So that's why I would have not been as crazy as Harry was in this moment, because, like, he was confused on way more levels than he needed to be. And I would like to think that I would understand that I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what do you think, Ted? I think my brain would come to the realization of like being able to like do what I needed to do in that situation, but my body does this thing where it like reacts for me, so like I get very shaky and very like I don't know, and then I can't control that even if I'm like, you're good, everything's fine. My body has a different reaction than my brain does.
Mm-hmm.
Kara Lynn asks, we know headmasters essentially teach their portraits to act like you. So if you have multiple portraits in multiple locations, do you just have to teach one portrait, or do you have to repeat the process multiple times?
I would hope it would be one time, and then
think
you could use that and like put it on each portrait. You know what I mean?
I was under the assumption that like,
Did you just say insumption?
I don't know, assumption that like if you had a portrait, like it's not like Phineas is going to like see his other self. He's just going to his other portrait. So like it's just him going back and forth.
I wonder if there's like a
Yeah.
personality spell you can like pull out like a memory and just like put it in there.
Memories.
I feel like Phineas couldn't travel to every single Phineas Nigellus portrait. It just happened that those two were connected. And
Well, see, I thought you could. I was under the impression that you could go to whatever one of your portraits.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And like, because doesn't Ron say in the first book, like, because he gets Harry gets Dumbledore on a chocolate frog card, and he's like, oh, he's gone, and he's like,
Can't expect him to hang around all day, can
Yeah.
you?
yeah.
whoa,
Portraits, man.
my body's gone. Not the same moment.
Body's gone. Oh my gosh, that happened when he was in the library and when I had it on the TV the other day. Where Harry Potter? What happened to his arm? Because it was just his arm with the lantern. She was very upset about it.
Isaiah asks, how do you think possession works? Is it legitimacy or is it something different?
No,
Something different.
I think it's something different because
I think
legitimacy
it's
is
something
just
wicked this
of,
way comes.
of the minds, right?
I think
You're
it's
out of
something
control.
that wasn't there before.
All right, move on because I'm not going to do this.
Oh my god.
No, just kidding.
I think that they're different as well.
Yeah. What it is, I don't know.
I think he's literally like,
As Sasa would put it, yo, broski, I'm gonna like do this.
you can't say what I would say because it's probably not appropriate, but
That's why I changed what I was gonna say.
I know exactly what I could see you're thinking. I would say like it's like Imperio, but like I don't know.
Kate
deeper.
missed it.
Sorry.
I like this question. And I
Sure.
think that we have an answer for it, which is cool.
No.
So Kendra asks, why do you think it changed so that Harry started seeing through Voldemort's eyes in his visions, but he didn't in earlier books?
Body back.
Yeah,
I think part of that, but I also think like we've talked about him possibly having some seer tendencies.
Yeah.
So like
I got my body back.
I do sort of feel like
body back.
sometimes when he's
Voldemort.
a
Body back.
quote fly on the wall, he
One's
is
a
more
seer and
so
one's a Horcrux.
seeing. Whereas, if he's seeing through
Yeah.
his eyes, that's the Horcrux connection.
Yeah, they're different. I
Yeah.
think we talked about this last episode rather than like we talked about,
little, yeah.
you know, seeing something
Yeah.
and then like experiencing it as
Yeah, because we
a
talked about
Horcrux.
it being like is because I think you said is he singing it, and I was like, well, no, I confirmed you saying it's the Horcrux
It's the Horcrux.
this time, like Frank being killed.
That's
That's
C.
a seeing. A fly on the wall.
And actually, the second half of this episode, we get to talk about what Tonks says that really solidified it for me.
oh, Tonks.
Watcha.
Another one gone too soon.
Watch her. R.I.P.
Chelsea asks, if you were a Weasley, would you have blamed Harry for what happened to Arthur?
No,
Oh,
absolutely
I
not.
think that
And they
all
don't.
of that is in Harry's head.
Yeah.
I wonder though, like, because I don't remember. I won't lie. How does Percy? Do we see him react to his father being hurt?
I don't
I
remember.
wondered that.
I don't think when do we see him?
Because like I
next?
feel like in my life, if something, God forbid, something like this happened, and I wasn't speaking with my parents, like this would make me speak to my parents.
I don't think so. Do we see him in 6?
Percy, I think so. When do we see him?
Because I know we see him in 7 at the ministry when they're going for the locket. They go into the same lift. He turns red faced and then walks out promptly at the next stop, and they don't say anything. And that's when Arthur turns to Harry as Harry's polyjuiced into what's his face.
Runcorn.
There it is. Yeah, I don't know if we see him in 6. We may mention him. You could probably look up Percy's character and then see the book at the bottom. Anywho, go to the next question. Sassa's looking this up.
Okay. Let me see.
Okay. Percy and the minister come for Christmas to talk to Harry in Half-Blood. That's right. Because
that's right.
yeah.
That's whenever the minister like asks Harry to like work with him, right? And Harry's like,
he's like, I
heck
don't.
no.
Yeah, I'm not telling lies, bro. Don't you remember last year?
This is a fun question from Tori. She asks, how would you announce the message Dumbledore gave Phineas? Give us your best Phineas impression.
Hold on, before you go on, I just want to say I did see like Percy Weasley was the only member of the Weasley family who did not visit Arthur due to his estrangement to them at this time, as he coldly returned his mother's jumper present unopened without so much as a note asking about his father's condition.
Yeah, it's rough stuff.
That's pretty.
I mean, Percy's going through it, you know.
I don't know. I have different relationships with my parents. I would never do that, but that's just me. I don't know.
Like
that's
said,
tough.
It's different.
It's tough.
Can you repeat your question? Because I don't remember.
Announce the message Dumbledore gave to Phineas. Give us your best Phineas impression.
Sure. Got it. Ready?
Yeah, go.
Serious. Dumbledore wants me to tell you that something happened to the redhead oldest Weasley. The rest of the children will be arriving with the Potter boy and not the mudblood.
Oh my God. He doesn't know about the mudblood. I personally think he probably flat out was like, hey,
Pip now.
Arthur Weasley was attacked. And his kids and Harry are coming over.
I think I channeled Jim Dale.
I kind of feel like he would lazily be like, serious.
Oh, guess nobody's home. I'm gonna go.
And then like Sirius would come running and be like, oh, you made it.
He probably was like my poor excuse for a great grandson. What's up?
Arthur Weasley's been hurt. The kids are coming.
The kids are coming. The kids are coming. The kids are coming.
Well, he probably doesn't he have to ask them? Can the kids come?
Do it like a Valley girl.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
Like, are the girls coming?
Arthur's like hurt.
Like,
and
can you even believe it?
His
Oh my
kids
God.
are gonna come like here real soon.
Like super soon. I guess there was like some kind of like really big snake, and it's like, yeah.
All right, let's do two more.
Sure. 2 more.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jiminy Christmas. That's a long time recording.
My foot's asleep, in case anybody cares.
My butt is asleep, so.
My back also.
Brandon or
Touche.
Alexander Hamilton asks, do you think that Harry would have been able to kill Nagini or not because of the whole both Horcrux thing that stopped Moldy Oldie Voldy?
I think it depends on what he used. Like, if he used
I
something that could kill a Horcrux, for sure.
I mean, we see Voldemort does it to Harry.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's different because it's Voldemort killing his
his.
soul. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all the same.
Like, I think that, like, so say Tiffany is over there making all these Horcruxes.
You know
and
I
Sasha's
did,
over here
girl.
trying to, like, destroy them. If I wasn't using something that, like, could destroy a Horcrux, I wouldn't be able to destroy them. But if Tiffany, like, decided to destroy her own Horcrux, it would be significantly easier in my headcanon. Because she made it. You know what I mean?
That's completely fair, I think.
Yeah. Last one. Sarah T asks, can you switch a Horcrux vessel? Thinking about Voldemort making something else a Horcrux, then changing it to Nagini.
I feel like
I'm
it'd
gonna
be
say
too
no.
fragile.
Yeah, I don't
You
think
know what
they
I'm
can.
saying?
I think it's going to be too intrinsically tied to
It's gonna
whatever you
be-
turned into a Horcrux.
Like it latches on and puts roots down. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like a super
I'm into
glue,
that.
not an Elmer glue.
Yeah.
Like
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 wood glue.
Velcro, but glue inside the Velcro. You know, because like Velcro,
It's like
sticks.
like a puzzle piece ish.
like
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about a zipper?
Oh, a zipper.
Those break.
Oh.
I mean, they
Sounds like
can.
you've had bad
experience.
experiences with zippers.
I do.
I will
Such
say
bad
my
experience.
favorite jacket that I still wear, like fall and winter times. I really need to get rid of it, but it's really comfortable. But the zipper, it doesn't zip up anymore. And there's also some holes in the sleeves, but I like it. So
Is it your Sunday jacket?
I don't know what that means.
Because it's holy.
Oh,
Kate,
but it's like nice.
It's
'cause,
not
like,
your
it has
time to tell a
hood,
joke yet.
and it's got nice pockets.
I'll tell you about
and
nice
it's comfortable,
pockets.
and it's big enough that I could even put a sweater. So I've been known in the dead of winter to just wear this thin jacket with the sweater under it.
All right.
It's my life.
Those are these questions.
Actually,
Keep
we're a hoodie
talking
now.
about your jacket.
It's my jacket.
Started all
Love my
jacket
jacket.
podcast.
Oh, my jacket.
I have a
It's
nice
just
jacket.
so great.
It's also from Ireland, in case anybody
Quality
doesn't care about it.
jacket.
Oh my gosh.
Fan story.
Fan story.
This week's fan story. Iggy's stoked about.
It's gonna be Iggy's fan story.
Comes from Erica. Hi, I'm Erica. I'm 23 and a proud Hufflepuff. What up, Katie? Yeah, what up?
Third or nothing.
Yes. And Thunderbird. She didn't add this in, but what up, me again?
For a second, I'm like, why did you say "What up, Katie" when like her name is Erica? Then I realized that's what she wrote, and it's time for me to go to bed.
My Patronus is a chow dog. Wand is
That's
10
cool.
and a quarter inches, rowan wood. Dragon heartstring, which I find weird me being a Hufflepuff. No, that's cool. And is slightly springy flexibility. I found your podcast in December 2018 and binge listened to where I am in my reread, so I'm at chapter 11. Ding. I'll do that for you. In Prisoner of Azkaban. I started reading
Gosh,
the
so
books
long
in
ago.
7th grade, but my teacher made me hate reading because we had to keep those reading logs. I had to read so much. I read up to Prisoner of Azkaban. Apparently, they weren't high enough level for me, so I never finished reading the series. I've watched all the movies and loved them. My reread began last summer when my anxiety and depression were at their worst and I became suicidal. What helped me through was watching and reading my favorite shows, movies, and books. My go-to movies and books for when I'm depressed are Harry Potter and Alice in Wonderland. They put me in a whole different world that distract me from my own head. I'm so thankful for the world JK has created, and like you all always say, Hogwarts was there for me and welcomed me back into a world I was thankful for and wanted to continue living in. After my Alice in Wonderland sleeve, I will be working on some Harry Potter tattoos on my other arm because both of these bring me so much joy and remind me to keep fighting and live my life. My favorite quote is from Dumbledore. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. That has got me through some bad times. I also want to thank you all for helping me. I love listening to you guys. My boyfriend, not really a Harry Potter fan, always catches me listening to you guys because my phone connects and I always listen in my car. And he said, sounds like girls just hanging out, having fun. And I said, yeah, that's why I love it. Always having a good time talking about Harry Potter. Thank you so much for being there for me and keeping me company in my time of need. This group is amazing, filled with awesome people. Thanks for creating such a welcoming environment. Again, thanks so much for all you ladies do and all the hard work you put in. With all the love, Erica, and don't let the muggles get you down. P.S. I'm that person that gets everyone to do their Pottermore quizzes. I made my boyfriend find out his Pottermore info. He's a Ravenclaw. Wild Rabbit, Patronus, also a Thunderbird. Wand is Aspen with Unicorn at 10 3/4 with reasonable, supple flexibility, and is very supportive of my nerdiness of Harry Potter because it makes me happy, even though he really isn't into it. He has read some and will watch the movies when I have them on. That's a keeper.
Yep,
That's
awesome.
Thank you so much for your story.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Coming from 4 nerds, always support the nerdiness.
Yes.
That's right.
And
That's
if you
right.
don't, get out.
That's also one of my favorite Dumbledore quotes, too, by the way.
Yes. And I'm glad that you have Harry Potter and Alice in Wonderland. That those are 2 wonderful
Love
worlds to
Alice
just
in Wonderland.
escape.
Yeah. Katie, give me that joke.
All right, I marked it. I just got to find it on this page.
Jokes.
Joke time, joke time,
Jokes and
joke time.
jokes.
Oh, yeah.
I like jokes.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Why are essays so hard to write at Hogwarts?
Because Snape assigned them.
Nope, because spelling counts.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I really like that one. Oh, goodness.
Hey, Meg.
Megan.
Yeah.
Where can you find us?
Well, hold on. I wanted to say who won the House Cup this episode.
Oh.
Was it a snake?
Probably.
It's Ravenclaw.
Oh.
Ravenclaw. Well, congratulations, Ravenclaw. You won the House Cup today in our Discord.
Claw, caw.
Oh my
You
god.
guys are crazy. All right, let's
All right.
Let's finish
you
this off and go to
can
bed.
Find us on Facebook at Swish and Flick Podcast and also join our Facebook group at Swish and Flick Podcast Group. We're on Twitter at Swish Flickcast and Instagram at Swish Flickcast. You can follow your hosts. Myself and Katie are on Twitter and Instagram at The Peters Family. You can also follow Tiffany on Twitter and Instagram at tiffswish_flick. And Sarah is on Instagram at O'Malley with 3 H's. If you want to join in on our amazing Discord fun that we seem to have literally every week, you can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/swishflickcast to gain access to Discord and participate in the House Cup. You can get sorted. You can go to herbology class and pick your is it pronoun? Why am I blanking? Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I don't know why that was so difficult for me. So you can go to herbology class, pick your pronoun. You can go to the recording chat and chat with us while we record. The come and go room, the recap room.
The what?
Listen, the recap room, and also listen to us live while we record. And it is literally so fun. So, yeah, if you are interested in joining, come and support us on Patreon. We appreciate it.
Is it fun?
It's so
Is it fun?
It's
I didn't have any fun.
I will say this for everybody, like if we made some Hamilton jokes in here, it was because we had a Hamilton chat pre-recording.
We did.
And that's why I was Peggy through half of it, and nobody knows that I was Mariah through the second half.
The Gryffindor
head
in me
pupil
is really
was-
upset that the rules weren't followed. I'm never going to get over this.
The rules were followed. They were
They were
followed.
not.
They were.
No.
There were no there are no laws when you're drinking White Claws.
I'm never drinking White Claw
Ain't
again.
no rulies when you're drinking Trulies.
Tiffany, as
no.
Marcus says, make the appeal for more Gryffindors to join Discord.
And
What? So Brandon can
if we're
delete all the
drinking
likes?
Corona seltzers, we're social distancing.
The points do matter. I want to win.
I mean, really,
Oh,
like
my goodness.
I don't know if they truly do.
So Katie and
Tiffany, what's
I
up?
and some other friends. Shout out to Carrie. And Jess. We're starting a new workout program on Monday. And we're going to get so
excited.
swole.
Swole.
So swole.
You know what Meg said to me the other day?
What? What?
It was so I just started working out again. Okay, it was my
Sure.
first day working
Yes.
out. She didn't believe
And?
me that I got up early to work out. First of all, she's like, "You worked out this?" I was like, "Yes."
She's been
"No, you
texting
didn't."
me in the morning. I
And
can
sh-
vouch.
I showed her my watch. I had proof, and she looks at me and she goes, "You don't look swole."
Oh my gosh. What a nice wife you have there.
Lordy.
Funny.
Love you.
Love you
Oh
too.
my gosh. No, but it's been good. We've been texting in the morning and just basically like forcing each other to get up and out of bed.
It's hard.
I'm working from home. It's pretty wild. No, I'm learning a lot of new things. Sometimes it feels like too many new things. And by sometimes, I mean all the time. And yeah, so it's just, it's tough for me to sit that long and look at a screen, but I'm getting out and I'm walking a lot more. And so Fozzie Bear's loving that. What else am I doing? Just getting ready for the school year to start pretty much. It's so weird. But I'm trying to stay positive about it, and yeah, I've not read. I've not played a video game. Redid my office. Still continuing to do that, but
It looks good.
it does look good. It feels good up there.
beautiful.
Like I feel very calm up there. So we'll see. I do want to make sure that I read though, because I really want to finish that book because I really, really like The Eye of the World. And
I literally was like, what book are you talking about?
I know it's been that long.
I mean, I really haven't read too much either.
I've literally not read since vacation.
I
and
finished the chapter that I was reading on vacation.
That to me is
2 days ago. I had 1 page left.
I need to take time to do that. Like I take time to work out. I need to take time to like read too.
I think what's just more important is like just you got to decompress. You know what I mean? Like that's sometimes like for me decompressing. Like I might be reading a book or I might read something online or
I sling heavy iron when I'm trying to decompress.
But like do you do that more in the morning? You know what I mean? Like decompress at like the end of the evening. You might
Still
just want to
feels good,
snuggle
though.
with Martin. No, I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. I think it's good. I'm saying like for me, my decompression mostly needs to happen at night.
Yeah.
So
Schnugs with Mart Dog
yeah.
are always good.
Snugs.
Schnugs. But yeah.
I get Slither Snugs.
Sometimes.
I get nothing because I'm single and live at home
God.
with my parents.
All right, Megan, what are you doing? Actually, Megan and I spitballed today for some fun merch ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, Swish has a lot going on currently. So there's just a lot that we're working on. And
Yeah.
merchandise, different ideas for like limited edition, limited run merch with donations to like different voting organizations for the fall. Like I really want to like pump up good organizations that help promote voting in areas where for some reason they make it difficult. Just trying to like do our best. We just want to do some good basically this fall coming out. We want some fun new merch that is for a good cause. And trying to figure out how to do that with like COVID still being a thing and it being difficult to put new things on our website. So just coming up with new different ways. Shout out to the people who ordered our Pride t-shirt and have been so patiently waiting for it to ship because I finally sat down and ordered them. So those will be coming to you shortly. But just like trying, I mean, my mom left today after being with us for like over a month, which was fantastic. And I miss her dearly already. But now we're just trying to like figure out our new schedule of like what we're going to do. Cause Kate and I are still both just like doing our own thing, working from home, trying to work on things for Swish, trying to work on things for us. And, it's just been a lot lately. There's just a lot going on in all aspects of our life. And there's going to be a lot of, new things on the horizon and I'm super excited about it. So yeah. Basically, it's been nice to like not that there's any excuse as to why I never got my steps in when we lived in Ohio, but we didn't live in the best neighborhood. So like when I would get home from work, like I was not stepping out of my house to go on a walk when it's going to get dark in an hour. So like being closer to Disney and Universal and like having those places available to us to just go at 7:00 at night and get our 10,000 steps in has definitely been helping me with staying active. So it's been really nice.
Motivates you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I just, it's something that motivates me to get up and get my steps in, stay active. I want to start working on my nutrition. I hate working out. It's just, I don't love it. It doesn't make me feel good when I do it. I hate being super sweaty, which I know people are probably like, why'd you move to Florida? But like, it's just not my thing. And so I just really want to focus on nutrition and getting my steps in and maybe swimming. And those are going to be the things that like are going to hopefully help me stay active. So it's just trying to figure out. I just need to figure out my new life schedule.
You'll get there.
Yeah. I talked for a long time. Sorry.
You're fine. Also figuring out a new life schedule and trying to stay active. Honestly, that's my life right now.
You've been doing so well. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So have you.
Thanks.
We've all been doing well in life. Let's do it. High five.
Sasa.
I literally am doing nothing. School is about to start.
You're not literally doing nothing. What did you do
That's so
for
true,
the past
Sarah.
few days?
You're not
I've just
doing
been painting a lot, and it's a pain in my tuchus.
It's a pain in your brush.
nothing. Painting's hard.
I've painted a lot.
Painting is hard.
And I'm not, I'd say I'm halfway, not even know if I'm halfway done.
You're almost
Because
there.
What
all
are you
of the
painting?
everything upstairs is being painted except for my
Wow.
room. So I painted the entire big room and the hallway. There's a little bit more I have to paint. I have to paint by the door to our attic. Like all of that needs to be painted. I primed everything, like all of the trim, like the door jambs, the doors, the windowsills. That's all primed and going to be painted white. I painted what was Matt's room. I primed that. I've painted that blue. I primed everything in there. There's like a little built-in bookshelf that's primed. It's going to be painted white to match the trim and the doors. And then Bridget's going to move into Matt's room, and then I'm going to take over her room and paint all of that. So like prime, I don't know if I'll prime the walls, but I'll definitely prime like the door jambs and stuff, because I'm going to paint all of that white, paint her windowsill white. She's got built-in kind of shelves that I'm going to paint white, and then I'm going to paint her room, and I'm going to turn that into like a little office space. But it's like never ending. Like I spent, what's today? Thursday. I spent Monday and Tuesday pretty much all day painting both days, because I've done it like all myself. And then my mom told me I wasn't allowed to paint anymore on Tuesday because I looked exhausted. So I painted today. So I like did my laundry. I made my bed this morning. And like last week, like I was working out all week. And then like this week I literally painted. So I have not worked out.
That is a workout.
So today I finished painting the room, my brother's old room, in the color that my sister picked out. So that the wall color is all done. So I just had to go in and paint that windowsill white, paint the built-in bookshelf white, do the doors and her door jambs and stuff. And then I have to do a second coat of the paint in like the big room. And there's like some touch up I have to do. And then my mom won't let me paint the bathroom because she doesn't trust me, which is fine. At this point, I'm like, go ahead and paint it yourselves. I don't care. So yeah, it's like a huge project. And I don't know why I decided to do it the week before school started, because that's now what my mind is on, when it should be on like focusing on like getting this class done and started really. And then figuring out nursing school and all that stupid stuff. That's just fun, but not fun at all. So I'm just tired. Just tired.
I thought you were
Sounds
doing
like a lot more than nothing.
Yeah, I thought you were doing literally nothing.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
I feel
doing
like, I
literally
know I've
nothing.
gotten stuff done because it looks great. Like the color, like we painted the big room and like the hall and everything upstairs. Like they all have seen it, so they know what I'm talking about. All of that is gray. Bridget picked out a blue for the room. I picked out another gray for her room, which like I very much like. I want all of this stuff done like yesterday, so I can like move in and like have a space so I could like, if need be, record there, or like can do my schoolwork in there, and I can move my desk out of my room and like have more space. But everyone else is not as like go as I am.
Aries.
It's
No,
like
I get it. That can be really frustrating.
And so like then my mom's getting not mad at me, but like I'm getting mad because there's like stuff everywhere. And I'm like, I just need them to like, all I wanted them to do was like put some stuff in some bins. And like they have anxiety about it, which is like, I'm not trying to judge them. I have my own horrible anxiety, whatever. But like, I also like, I'm literally just asking you to like move things for me. And they did for about 15 minutes, and then I had to do everything else. So I'm like, if stuff gets broken or if gets paint on it, I'm like, I can't help it. But I mean, it's cool. I really like the color so far, and I've done a better job than I thought I was going to do. Although there is paint on the carpet, but that's eventually going to get torn up. It's probably like 20 years old, if not older. I was like, I don't care. She's like, we're going to get rid of it eventually. And I was like, I'm glad you don't care because it's definitely on the carpet.
Jen says between the furniture assembly and painting, you could start a business.
Oh my God. And then I was like thinking, I'm like, I really am. Like, did Bob the Builder, did he ever paint? Like Handy Mandy, he painted, I bet. He built stuff. I like that show. It's another kid's show.
Sasa, general contractor.
Yeah. And there's still things I have to build. I have a filing cabinet I have to put together. I just haven't gotten it upstairs. I'll wait till like all that stuff is moved and I'll bring it upstairs.
I ordered a filing cabinet and it came assembled. I was very surprised when that box showed up on my doorstep. I was like, "Ooh, nice surprise."
No, because I built a treadmill. I built a bike. I'm gonna build a filing cabinet. I've built so many things. I've painted so many things. I'm kind of over it.
I can understand.
You just need a little break.
I just need to nap for 80 years, but I have to work this weekend, so I won't be able to nap till next weekend.
Well, let's go to bed then.
Yeah, just for me to come back in, 10 hours?
Hey.
Not even.
It is what it is. So I read earlier in the chat what this episode should be for, and I think it was pretty accurate. This is for Brandon and Bob's shorts.
Yes.
I think it's Brandon and Bob's apron, because he's pretty Bob's apron.
It's Bob's
today.
shorts. This whole thing is Bob's shorts.
No.
And that's how we're going to end it. Thanks, Brandon.
Oh, man. Cool.
That concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and don't let the muggles get you down.
Amazing! My voice!
I want to feast. I want to bean feast.
All right.
Literally so annoyed.
Get out of my life.
Remix.
Hey man, welcome to Swish and Flick, man.
This is from VeggieTales. It's a personal song. He said to her, I'd like a cheeseburger. But I might like a milkshake as well. She said to him, I can't give you either. And he said, isn't this Burger Bell? She said, yes it is, but we're closed now. But we open tomorrow at 10. He said, I am extremely hungry, but I guess I can wait until then. 'Cause you're my cheeseburger, my yummy cheeseburger. I'll wait for you. Oh, yeah, I'll wait for you.